As a kid growing up, I was a horrible human being. But there was a lot of negativity about me in social media. No one's met me, but everyone just jumped on a bandwagon and assumed everything was correct. Gone are the days a French word is used to describe something posh. Crème brûlée. Now you're taking a piss, it's made in Cambridge. The worst thing in the world are French sommeliers where they make everyone feel like shit. British food is historically based on French. That's why it's bland. Britain is very squeamish because they've never had to get their hands dirty. Cut a barbecued lobster in half, but when the head is barbecued, squeeze the head all over the meat. We have a team of 7, and their sole job is to, how do I say this nicely? We'll know exactly what you had, how you were as a person, how many times you went for a piss. We'll know if you're left or right-handed. If you don't want to be found, get your stuff off online. I was losing my relationship, I was losing my son, I was losing my restaurants, I was losing my parents' house, I was losing fucking everything, and I'm looking around thinking...
Cool, ready to roll in?
Ready?
Sick. Well, mate, thank you for doing this, especially in this sweltering but wonderful heat in Phuket and with your food poisoning. It shows your commitment and discipline.
Yeah, that's all right. It's a beautiful place, but sadly, you're bound to happen once food poisoning, and when you're in Thailand, it just happened to be last night.
The Thailand shits that come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What I'd love to start with is the name, frog.
Yep.
I read that you called it frog because frogs either sink or swim.
Pretty much,
It was your first business whereby, it was a sink or swim moment. I'd love to know, what was the moment in your business journey and or career where you felt like you were sinking, like you were, you're drowning, your lungs are almost filling up, you don't know which way you're going, you're sort of blacking out a bit, first? And second, how did you use lateral or sideways thinking to get out of that, surface to the top? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's been, I don't think you can ever say there's one of them moments in your career. It happens very regularly. I think what makes your business stronger is realizing how to adapt and get out there of any sinking hole that you get into. I always love this phrase, when you think about being buried, use it as an excuse to regrow. Understand what went wrong, don't let it happen again, come back even more beautiful like a plant. So I kind of live by that side of life, but also surround myself with people that I trust, love, and know only have the best for me and my intentions to what I wanted to create my collection. So show me your friends and I'll tell you how successful you're going to be. That's basically the motto of life. Surround yourself with people smarter than you in the fields that you need help in. Chefs nowadays, they think that just because you're cooking the food means you can run everything and it'll be successful as hell. That's incorrect. Mm-hmm. You require a beautiful ecosystem similar to the back of a watch. You need them cogs all come together and make that timeless piece of everlasting success, not just success now. So I would say probably my first bit of issues, my first restaurant, E1, Frog, when it was in Shoreditch, I ran into problems every single month there, realizing that, shit, I didn't order enough, say, toilet roll, for example, or the little things which I never thought I'd need to do because I had that frame of mind that I'm a chef, running a restaurant's going to be easy. No, cooking is easy. The restaurant is 50% of the business. So wobbling over there, messing up with payroll because, you're not the smartest at that thing, messing up at budgets, messing up in orders, and then not understanding the difference between logic and passion, which is every chef's biggest problem. Logically, do I need that? Passionate, we need it. It's going to make it look even better, say for a plate example. So I think my biggest growing as a human being, as a person, was understanding the two different boundaries of passion and logic.
Just sink into that a bit more. Any examples to add some sort of scaffolding or colour to because I love that sort of tension between logic and passion. Like how have you become better at that?
One of the biggest and hardest things that we've ever had to do in life was to cut a restaurant off mid-production. So, for example, we're building the place, we're spending loads of money at it, we've hired the team, we've got the wine stock, we've put a lot of money behind it, and just before the doors open, we cut the arm off of the restaurant and we say no. Because things change and you're realizing that this build of what is happening, and this happened about 1.5 years ago to one restaurant, and then we opened Tartan Fox with the same team that we had for this new site. The passion around it was, we can do this. Legals take about 9 months when you're doing something really massive. This was an overseas restaurant, and but I trust the people. People don't know you. They don't trust you. They're inspired by your passion, but it's a business for them at the end of the day as well. So the hardest business decision I ever done was, even though we've put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds into this project, it's going to be the most costly learning lesson I've ever made.
Really?
And I told my board, I was like, it's becoming too muddy now. The board were like, if you feel comfortable that you want to cut it, it's going to be the most expensive lesson in your life, but you'll never make it again, and it's good you get it done now.
Yeah.
So we did that.
Where was the restaurant overseas? If you don't
In the Cayman Islands.
In the Cayman Islands?
Yeah, so I was doing a lot of work out there, working on a new project with a new developer out there, and had heads of terms signed, had everything like that. You know, you're spending a hell of a lot of money, but it's a different country, so you require a lot more different hoops to jump through. And I'm like, I just want to start with this project. You know, I trust you, you trust me. We're ready to go with it. It's my money coming into it. Sure, but if it doesn't work, you know, you don't have we're not giving you anything back. It is what it is. I trust you. Let's do it. Worst thing I've ever did.
Really? So take me to, like, say I don't know whether you're in the Cayman Islands, you're in a hotel room, you're pacing up and down. You know, there's the whole sunk cost fallacy. Once you're in, you're in. And I think a lot of people make foolish decisions because once we're this far in, let's fucking keep going.
Yep.
I think what we were talking about before when we were having a coffee downstairs, mate, is about, saying no. The art of saying no is so hard, and again, it dances between the dichotomy of passion and logic. But yeah, take me into your headspace. How did you come to the decision to say no? Because there'll be a lot of businesses and leaders and founders listening to this who they're in. They've put 100K in, whatever, 200K, and they're gonna fucking go on, and they may be swimming in towards the top or driving into the Titanic. Talk me through that.
The main problem was the finances, the debt repayment plan to go back into it. Obviously, when opening a restaurant overseas, it requires, I think this project was around about the £7-ish million. So I required some debt financing to be able to do that. And the terms weren't quite pretty as they were at the very beginning, because obviously it went from 5 to 7, and then obviously 2 more makes it a little bit sticky. And you're in that mind frame where I've sunk in a hell of a lot of money already. We can make it work. And I've got the mindset where, because I have such a wonderful, beautiful, very smart team around me that look after all specific areas, whenever we open something, we all do it together and we make it successful. But then that means that all 7 of my directors for all the areas will be based in one property, and the rest of the group also still has to survive. So do we save costs to pay debt back to be able to have the directors there, or do we push them around the rest of the business like a normal operation and make everything successful? And I got so much grief from my shareholders, so much grief from I didn't get grief from my board, I got questioned. You know, the board are extremely questionable about, really.
What sort of questions were they asking you?
The financial. My board is not hospitality. Yeah. They are the best in the business but they have a passion for my dreams. Yep. So they've pretty much all sat on my board for years, and they love me, but they've also been kicked down many a times through their careers, and they're passing on life's lessons, but they know not to push them down my throat. You know, my board is there to advise me, not to tell me how to run a business. And then it's up to me to listen with my internal people to be like, yeah, okay, this isn't really working. And when you've got one of the closest board members there, phenomenal guy, taught me everything I knew, whisper in my ear quietly, really take a long, hard think of this. I have your back, but these are the areas which I'm concerned about. And if he's concerned about it, I should be concerned about it.
What were those areas?
The bullies.
Bullies, as in from the others, from the Cayman Islands side.
Yeah, when the terms changed from one to another, there was a lot of changes happening. Okay, changes from our side too and their side too, but the way that they were perhaps perceiving themselves or portraying themselves, it wasn't as romantic as what it first started out as. And if it's a little bit muddy at the beginning before the operations even open, how do you think it's going to be when the operations open? And he's just extremely cautious and very much be careful, be careful. And he's my working out. So you've created all your financials with our finance teams. Let me edit everything up. but do it from a real mean person's way.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what the worst case thing of this is going to be. And it was, within 6 months to a year, your entire collection is bankrupt.
Fuck. There's a podcast I love called Chris Williamson, and he talks about 2D lessons versus 3D lessons. So 2D lessons are, you know, stuff you can read in a book, but they only actually sink in when they become 3D, i.e. you actually, you know, go through it yourself. So like a 3D lesson would be something like heartache, you know. So if you break up with your missus for the first time, you're like, you can't read that in a fucking textbook. You have to go through it.
You got to experience it.
And I think that's what it is for you in your business. What you were saying, you know, with all this stuff in the Cayman Islands, I think your way of saying is when you're buried, you can grow and blossom.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going through that fucking almost, you know, the pain that's in your nervous system is kind of ricocheting around. Based off that period where you were buried, what are the 1, 2, 3 principles that you now apply to the collection? You know, going forward, I really believe like the deeper the pain, the richer and deeper the wisdom.
The hardest part of my career was during COVID, and I'll talk about that one more because I'll tell you what happened there, and that's where I really got shook up. My first wobble in my main wobble that was pretty much toxic to myself was when COVID just happened. Purely because I'm a control freak. We were opening restaurants left, right and centre, and I thought I was invincible. I was a cocky person back then, because everything that I had touched with the team that I was around worked, which was beautiful. And it wasn't because of me. It was because I had a phenomenal structure of people around me that they believed in my visions pretty much more than I did on some occasions to make sure that everything succeeded. But when COVID happened, there was no fallback plan. We were living our restaurant collection month by month. We didn't have a...
Just for context, how many restaurants did you have at this point? So didn't you have the goal was 4 frogs?
Oh, we had way more than that. At that point in time, we had... So what closed was Frog Hoxton,
Yep.
Iron Stag in Hoxton, Bean and Wheat, the Adam Hanning Chelsea Hotel on the Belmont Cadogan, Ugly Butterfly, the original one on Kings Road, the charity restaurant. The rest of them stayed. Now, that's more than half of your portfolio. It's a big kick in the nuts because landlords were still demanding their rent, apart from the Belmont. The rest of them were still demanding their rent, and you have no backup plan to be able to afford that. None at all. And we had heavy debt on a lot of our restaurants at that point in time. Millions of debt, in fact, on restaurants. Most businesses do. And everything needed to be paid. And I had no idea what to do. I had literally no idea what to do. I had a newborn baby. What do you do? I melted. I collapsed. I went into the bathroom. I cried my eyes out. I was lost. And then Nicola and Stephen, Jamie, George, mostly Nicola and Stephen at the beginning, they were like, we need to do something. We need to make some money. We have an entire staff here. A lot of people are coming to Frog in particular to work here, and they're at home being bored. So let's do charity stuff. So get us out, start cooking. We were doing that. We did 21,000 meals for charity, but then doing so, we were like, this is actually piss easy to be able to do that. And everyone's really appreciative that they're here. So let's do our home deliveries. But let's not do what everyone else is doing, where it's one box, you get told what you're doing. Let's do what our restaurants are known for. You pick the menu, we'll create the box for you, we'll send it out to you. And from there, we were working, it was mental. Mental, and it was all tax-free. And you were making ridiculous amounts of money. And you saw your debt line go from millions down. Valentine's Day, we made something like £148,000 in one day, tax-free, because it's home delivery. So you're looking at these numbers and you're like, we're doing 5,000 orders we've capped. This is mental. We're drawing down debt, and it's going straight to pay off the debt. Obviously, there was a bit of our problems where we got a little bit in trouble, but we came out of lockdown way better off than what we did when we weren't. And the one thing that I realized was I am not invincible. I thought I was, but because I was surrounded by great people that wouldn't let anything fail. But that arrogant in business, everyone has it. No founder a creative founder creates something and thinks it's not going to work. They put their heart and soul in it's going to work. No one thinks it's not going to. So you need to be knocked down massively to be shown all of the flaws in your operations, being it financial, being it staff, being it marketing, anything you want to think about at all. You need to experience that in life. It's the hardest lesson, but the best lesson I've ever had, because it realizes that we need to work better on controlling them cogs. It needs to be that watch. At the moment, it was just one. It didn't have 100.
Yeah.
It was one.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's almost like the Icarus deception. You know, they could fly too close to the sun, eventually your wings burn and you fall. But I think it's all well and good people saying that, but ultimately, to get anything going, you need a massive ego. There's not any rock band you think about, any fucking Facebook, anything that's been created that has a positive impact on the world took one maniac with a massive ego to begin with. That's why I disagree with no ego in business, because it's the ego that ultimately pushes you through the days you don't want to do it, the vision of I can do this. And it's kind of a bit of a paradox, because if you don't have ego, you don't not this hotel was swanky hotel was sat in doesn't get built without some fucker with a vision to build it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's that dance. So when you did fly too close to the sun with COVID, you had that kind of I think there's that moment when everything you touched was turning to gold.
It was.
When it starts turning to lead, like how did the Adam handling change in that period as a leader?
Every personal asset that we had went on the market so that we can have I had to do that. It was all tied up to the business, and we were.
So when you say personal asset, like
houses, my parents' house as well. You know, like everything. My mum and dad come from nothing, and they.
So check that. Yeah, keep going, mate.
My dad signed over the house over Collateral for a bank when obviously my dad loves his children, but it was probably not the right thing to do, but because one of his kids asked for it. And bear in mind, I come from Dundee. This house was the family house. It was probably worth 140 or something. So it wasn't like I come from a millionaire family, and that was the only thing that they gave me when I was there, just to sign it off as extra collateral for banks. Everything had to go. Absolutely everything. It broke my mum and dad. It broke me because I did that to them. Obviously, they're okay now. But there's so much trust you have from a parent for a child, even though I was an adult at the time, but to have that real dream, you know, the big eyes, the ambition, and for them to be like, everything, I can see what you're doing. You're in every bloody newspaper. You're on every TV show. You're literally smashing life. It's going to be fine. He didn't tell my mum either, which was silly. But yeah, it's like these life lessons, and it happened many, many years ago. Our collection's been open more times after COVID than it is before. So that was pretty much in the beginning stages of business.
So how long had it been going up to that point?
We opened the first one in 2017, I think.
Right. Okay.
I think it was 2017 we opened the first Frog, or 2016. So yeah, our group's passed the 50% time from COVID, which is great, and it's only got stronger. It would have never been able to be this successful without that horrible knock. And, that was the only time I was negative about life. But then I took a step back and realized this is when I'm changing my mentality. I'm no longer going to be about what's wrong with the industry, what's wrong with the situation, what's wrong with the government. We're going to be adapting. We're going to be positive, and we're going to say that it's just a time period, and we're going to move forward. Because I still had restaurants. A lot of my friends lost everything. They're the ones that should have been a little bit more, upset about it than what I did. I still managed to bounce back, which was really beautiful. So that there was the time point where, instead of the question I get asked all the time, what is wrong with hospitality? Nothing. What is right about hospitality? What is great about hospitality? And the positives. Yes, there are negatives in any situation, any business.
That's what we were talking about downstairs. It's like I don't think there's ever been a time since I've been alive that everyone's been, other than the Olympics, where in the UK it's such a pessimistic culture in some regards. I think it's kind of good for our creativity. But we've never been buzzing about the politicians. We've never been buzzing, we just love to fucking complain.
Yeah.
And if you can be the one person who's just massively positive, it just has this. What were you saying? Positive manipulation, negative.
Yeah, it's like
talk about that. Yeah,
manipulation on negativity, and manipulation on positivity. There needs to be a better word for the word manipulation, because it already is. It's tied with so much negativity. But if you were
galvanizing kind of thing.
Yeah. But if you were to manipulate, if you can manipulate someone to become evil, you can also manipulate someone to be the best version of themselves and positive. It just depends on the leader who's surrounded by the people. I'm very much of the illusion that just as negativity attracts negativity, positivity attracts positivity. Mm-hmm. So if me and I'm as focused and driven about what we can do to get over obstacles, The other senior people will be around me, and then they'll do it to theirs, they'll do it to theirs, they'll do it to theirs. Or you can go down the other one, complain to your number two, this is shit, this is shit, this is shit, it's all failing, let's close the doors. Sure, your business will fail because of that mentality. Everyone goes through struggles in their life. Everyone in every country goes through struggles in our life. It takes a specific person to take every struggle and adapt. If you do not adapt, you do not change your business in terms of what is offering for the area, what the trend is. You know, the alcohol spend, for example, and I got bars as well, is massively down because people aren't drinking as much. Adapt. Make a banging non-alcoholic cocktail menu, a banging non-alcoholic pairing, you know, loads of stuff. Invest in non-alcoholic wines, invest in non-alcoholic beers, you know, or you can just be like, oh, my bar's failing, I've got to close the doors, rates are going up. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. You know, if you give up yourself, you failed. And that's why I called the frog the frog. It gets out the water, jumps over obstacles, come back in. If it smacks its little paws together and says, you know what, I've had a hard day, it drowns. So it's that positive message to sink or swim, always adapt, always move forward, always stay positive. That is the ethos between my collection, the very first restaurant.
And that's almost the thing that keeps it's almost the oil in the cogs between the parts of the Rolex or the watch. That's so fascinating.
But it's so romantic.
Is there a specific example of where, I don't know, a leader or an employee's been kind of in a negative state? And I think it is easy just in life, like, it is easy to be negative. And like negativity bias is good for survival because we're always looking at, oh, what's going to be happening? You know, it protects us ultimately. It's kind of a good thing for survival from from an evolutionary perspective. But you also need this to, you know, temper it with positivity. Is there an example of where someone's been, you don't have to give names here at all, but like just the team's felt a bit like, ugh, and how do you reinvigorate?
Recently, I won't say the name because it's not nice. Someone has been having a little wobble for a little while. Ever since another restaurant opens, perhaps we take a little bit of our foot off of their gas, move it on to another, but allow the management to run that operation. And this was the first time they were pretty much doing it without the directors because we were on a new opening, but it wasn't that far. And it was constant negativity. You know, like, this isn't working. I don't know how to do this. I'm dyslexic. We run on apps. We're a very digital company. You can't fuck up on anything. You know, so all of these excuses that were coming out, plus I'm dyslexic, you know, that just means you're a little bit slow. Take your time. You know, there's plenty of things that you can do, but everything was negative. And then I was in one management meeting, and it got inundated with complaints from the team. I love my team so much, and I think everyone has a voice and everyone should be heard. Whether or not you agree with them or not, everyone should be heard. But there was a common theme, and I will never go, because I would send Jamie, I would never do it myself, to go around the mall and ask questions about their specific managers. I hate that sort of environment. It's so tacky. Jamie would subtly speak to the team and do perhaps performance reviews so that they can see what's in doing it in a legal way, but also a very way that we can make sure every team member succeeds. And there was a common theme inside of everything what I was saying. And then I also don't like, this witch hunt. Even though he's the manager, he or she was the manager, if there was this witch hunt either, I would smell that out as well. And I'd be like, take a look at all yourselves. They cut the shit. We have to work together. We're still a team. We have a vision. We haven't hit our goals yet. Focus. Stop bitching. Focus. Because one thing about this industry at the moment, perhaps it's a slightly more bubble wrapped as what it used to be, that sometimes it's not a bad thing to tell people, stop bloody moaning, focus, write something down, and, we have a target to achieve. We have to do it together. Mm-hmm. But anyway, there was an ultimatum given where I point blankly said, you need to change your attitude. A fish rots from the head.
A fish rots from the head.
A fish rots from the head.
Yeah.
So if you must, and I know we all get sad at sometimes. Things happen in our lives. But as the top of that specific leader chain, whenever you walk into an operation, you must put on a facade of you're here for everyone. There are specific people that they can go to when they're having an issue, and they'll be looked after massively because they lean on their next ones. But when it comes to the junior team inside the operations and the whole world is so bad to them, these people are in the same boat as you, mate. You know, like, you need to stay focused. You need to switch on. You're either with us or you're not. Can you move this restaurant forward? Because I love it and I will not give up and I will take it over myself. And he said, no. Okay. Let me help you on your next journey. The hardest thing to do for someone in my position is to have a manager fail, because I feel like I failed as well. But there is only so many times you can take a horse to water and then drown the fucker.
Yeah.
You know, there is only so much you can do, but you still take that very personal to be like, because I don't lose senior people very often. You know, all of our restaurants are headed up by people that have been with me since the dawn of time. And I love that ethos. They all have the same ethos. But you realize you've got to cut the head off that rotten fish to let the restaurant survive.
Yes.
And we had to do that.
Yes. When have you ever, I think there's, as you get bigger, your brand gets bigger, there can be a propensity to say yes to short-term revenue opportunities versus and this is something I'm going through now, versus long-term brand equity, depth, connection. And again, it's like you need money to keep the business afloat, but also you need to protect the brand. It's a fucking tricky thing, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me, what's almost the worst thing you've said yes to? What's the worst business decision you've made where not that you've cut it off like the Cayman lines, but you said yes to something that kind of devalued the brand long-term?
I don't really think I have, to be fair. I've said no to lots of things.
Yep.
One of them was the Scottish dairy company, and they wanted to chuck ridiculous amounts of money at the group to be the ambassador of this specific one and do some content. And I said to my team, we need to do that. We really need that cash injection. You're talking like 100K. I really need that cash injection into the business. They're like, you do that, you're dead. You start to do this, it's game over. You don't have to say yes to everything, and people realize that you may get very financially wealthy in the quick time. Longevity of your brand, of being everlasting, like a Chanel, it's non-existent. You have to be strong, even when business is struggling, of who you say yes to. You end up saying no to more than you say yes to.
That's what I was telling you. The brand strategy guy we're working with, he's like, this year you have to say no to literally 90% of everything. Yeah. To keep the brand alive. It's fascinating.
But then you also find out that as much as that 90% of revenue that you've said no to, the 10% that you have will actually be better than the 90% you've said no to, but it's really, really, really good stuff. You know, it's stuff that's going to enhance your brand. You're going to learn yourself as well. And you both are going to work forward in a more harmonious manner where you can have them on your books for the next 10 years rather than just a quick payout now.
Yeah. I want to talk about the brand and sort of, I think you said it's a collection of individual restaurants, which I think is a beautiful way of putting it. But I really believe a brand is an expression of self. It's kind of an extension of the founder, and it's so. What I want to understand is really get into the roots of yourself, and then we can explore, you know, this 50% frog, 50% letting the chefs do what they want to do. I love that kind of exploit the frog, and then explore, you know, in the panoply of different restaurants. But talk to me, like, how were you misunderstood as a kid growing up?
As a kid growing up, I was a horrible human being. I wasn't very, I didn't give a crap about school. I was very obnoxious. I always wanted to be outside with my friends. I was sporty, but I didn't really care about family. I cared about myself and being with my friends outside and just causing havoc in school. Looking back at myself, I would have disowned me as a child. Something my mother says to me quite regularly. But I think me experiencing that means how I'm going to make sure that my son doesn't turn into me when I was a kid. Everything that I was as a bad child, but also being a negative child means that you have nowhere to encapsulate your energy. For me, schools are pointless. They are not for everyone. They're probably for 25% of the population. The rest of the stuff, they need a specific angle of education that sparks some sort of creation side. And that doesn't need to be necessarily a vocation. It could be anything, but like what really gets you excited as a child? And then run down that path. everything else will come into play. Even if it was chefing for me, you still learn finance, you still learn English because you're reading so many different things. You're still learning all this shit, stuff like that. But you're bypassing the complete pointless stuff. Stuff that had no focus, and it just made me act out as a child. Am I happy of doing it? No. I look back at myself and think, my poor mum, because my dad worked a lot.
What was the relationship with your mum and dad from, say, 12 to 16?
I've always been a mummy's boy. Mm-hmm. My dad was very strict growing up. He was a military man, so he wasn't around a lot. But I was around.
Was he like? Sorry to interrupt. Like, is he like on tour? Or
Yeah. So he was, especially when I became 15. We were living in Germany, or 14. We left Germany to come back to Scotland when he went to go to Iraq, and my mum wanted to move us to closer to the family in Dundee so I can do my final year of school, and. My mum's wonderful. She looked after all of the children pretty much on her entire own.
Kids?
Only three. But with one being able to still.
Yeah, three's not kids, bruv.
yeah. So three, but she did it. She did it on her own. She did it. She cared about the children so much growing up, and will actively. I'm like her in terms of we're not the most smartest when it comes to the traditional English or maths way of doing things. She's exactly the same as I am. My dad, my brother and sister, they're all the same. They're like geeky smart, where they can get that, but when it comes to common sense, perhaps they don't have as much as me and my mum. Mm-hmm. But my mum tried to work hard with me because she was a pain in the bottom when she was younger too. So she'll make me do extra English lessons and maths lessons and things like that. And her dream was, because she never went to university, all the children go to university, it's in Scotland, it's free, be successful. Chefing was never part of the pathway to my career, to my future. But for my dad, he saw that university was not for me. Mm-hmm. At all. So I told my mum, I was like, Mum, I'm not going to school. I get kicked out all the time. It's not for me. It's just wasting your time. It's wasting mine. What can I do with my life? And she says, if you get an apprenticeship, while you can still learn and do a vocational skill, you can leave school and you don't have to go to university. That's the only way. University, all that, or get out of the house. Mm-hmm. That is all. And I was like, oh, perfect. She's managed to change her tune slightly. So I told my dad. But I was like, if you find anything, we'll go and do some interviews together. So I found the first apprenticeship program that I'd ever seen, and it was for an apprentice chef in Gleneagles Hotel in Scotland. Had no idea people lived that way. Mm-hmm. In Gleneagles was magical. I told my dad was like, let's go. Don't tell your mum. We'll do it together. Wore his suit, had 3 different interviews. I was mind blown by the professionalism of hospitality in Gleneagles. Again, like I said, I'm just a guy from Dundee. This was mind blowing. And I was so inspired by how everything ran, how everyone was calm, and how everything was passionate and fire. So when you're in the kitchen in there, it was bloody intense. They don't make kitchens like that anymore. I'll tell you that for free. It was a little bit rough, but they would not let anyone fail. Now, the great thing I love about a kitchen is a good kitchen is controlled by everyone succeeding, not by one failing to the other one to get a step up on. I hate kitchens like that. They're the ones who fail. Gleneagles was exactly like that. They wanted every single chef in that single restaurant to succeed and be the best they possibly can. And whenever a chef failed, they were removed, but they didn't like it. It's still a business at the end of the day. You can only take a horse to water so many times. They would teach them and change them sections and then teach them and teach them and teach them. They had a training school there as well for the chefs. It was phenomenal. And I loved the fact that no one would ever give up on me there. And then I just got inspired. I got inspired to learn and study. So I started buying books because I'm like, this is so cool. I'm tasting things. I was a fussy eater as well growing up, but I'm tasting things I now like, but I've always detested as a child. Why is that? So I want to learn about it because it's something that is really exciting me. There's something in my mouth. And then from that angle, I got really geekily infected into what makes food taste good. Mm-hmm. Skills will come. I was shit until I was like maybe 24. So like just under 10 years into my apprentice, and where I left there, 10 years into being a chef-ish is when I started to be a good chef. But I wanted to learn not about the chefing. I wanted to learn about how to make flavor, how to make the best sauce, but also understand knowledge. So when someone says a sachet sauce, what's in it? This. I wanted to learn the classics in every single one. So I literally I had to travel like 45 minutes from my house to Glen Eagles every day, there, well, an hour and a half there and back. And I got 3 books from my chef. Repertoire de la Cuisine, The Practical Cookery, and the, oh my God, I forgot the name. Is it Larousse? Oh my God, I forgot it. Huge book. Larousse Gastronomique, yeah, that is the book, yeah. Haven't picked it up in a while though. But I would study them 3 books together because they were all very cross-referencey and learn about the history of things. So I'm such a geek when it comes to history. Such a geek. I love it so much, of food. And from there, my passion to always succeed and have that same mindset of my team always has to succeed. Everyone has to be the best they can. That's how I was trained. That's how I like to train. Was pretty much the foundations of how I've still got the same team that my first restaurant had now, 10 years later.
Well, it does. That's what I wanted to go into self to explore the brand, you know, today. And it is that was your sink or swim moment. That was your frog moment. The way you swim is by doing the extra work, by reading on the bus or whatever.
Yep.
What other things, because you had such your rise, because you're so young still, is kind of wild. What were you line up 100 chefs, not even 100 businessmen, they won't have the level of success you've had. If you were to line up 100 people, what do you think you've done differently? What's your unique edge that's allowed you to get ahead versus other people?
Inspire a small amount of people and forget the rest. I think
unpack that.
So, for instance, everyone always wants to be another chef's best friend. You know, they want to please every single person in the industry, and then they go out, they party, they're always with each other, they bum off each other at award ceremonies, all of that. I didn't give a crap about that. I picked 7 people that work in my group, and we became the most tight team you can ever imagine. We became best friends. We became family. And I know we're not by blood, but we spend more time with each other than we do our partners. We will do anything for each other. They are my future. I surrounded myself with them sort of people that knew how to do the specific parts of the business better than I ever could. Mm-hmm. If a chef thinks they can do everything, every part of a business, you will not last over a year. Mm-hmm. You will fail. You will fall flat on your face. So remove yourself from them situations where the chef is the rock star of any industry. Bullshit. Mm-hmm. You're really not. Mm. You can cook some good food. Anyone can cook. Yeah. Anyone can cook. But it's about how you can maintain a team to continually thrive, be positive. So I run by inspiration, education, motivation. Them three names in a circle of honesty. So you have to tell people your directions. Tell them.
It's like inspiration, education, motivation.
Yeah.
What's the hardest of those 3 to crack?
The inspiration is the hardest one, I'd say, because you have bad days sometimes, but you can't tell your team that.
Any examples of that?
More so like, there's plenty of bad things that have happened everywhere. You know, the social media can be mean at some times. Newspapers can be mean. Journalists can be mean. You could have someone pass in your family. You can have an argument with your partner. There's financial issues is a huge problem personally for lots of people, including myself back in the day. So that trying to walk into a business and not allow anyone to know you have a single problem every single day is probably the hardest thing, but you need to do it. You are the leader. Any
specific systems you put in place to do that? Because I'm fucking hopeless at that. So I'll say to my team, we've got a team of 6 who run this. Well, and then, with some consultants, 7. And if something's going Pete Tong, I'll let everyone know. But it's kind of like I'm trying to get better at that. It's almost, what is it, the whole thing, in between stimulus and response is space, and in that space is freedom. It's the Viktor Frankl quote. Mm-hmm. There's no gap with me, bruv. Like, it's just like straight chaos.
Yeah. Is there? I used to be the same.
How did you? Like, what have you done to like
drive? I drive more. So driving, in my car to and from the restaurants, and from that way, that gives me a little bit where I'm on my own. I'm not on a tube, crammed in like a sardines, where I can't think and I have to listen to music because I don't want to talk to anyone. And I'm surrounded by negative people because everyone's fucking miserable on the tube. I'm in my car where I can zone into whatever I need to zone into. Do I need to overthink something? Do I need to unpick something? Do I need to call Nicola and say, because Nicola's my number 2, Nicola, I have this idea. Me and you, I have an hour to get there, unpick something, recreate something so that we can then go back to the team with. She's like, yeah, sure, any time of day. She's phenomenal. Smartest woman I've ever met in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Why so?
She started off as my operations coordinator.
Right. Where's she from? Sorry.
Not from hospitality.
Oh, really?
No, not from. So her dream is to always be a publicist. So as one of the dreams of her life, she wrote my 3 books. She's her own. The publicist was like, "We'll do it for you." She's like, "No, it's my dream. If I'm in hospitality, I'm going to write this bloody book." And she knows me better than anyone. But no, she started off as operations coordinator when we were opening Frog in Covent Garden. And we had a little bit of a problem with my COO. Again, these are all learning curves for me. You go from little restaurant where it costs you 300,000 to open to the next restaurant that costs you 5 million to open. You're going to get a little excited and be a little bit more passionate rather than logical. And I surrounded myself with people that weren't quite ready then. This is restaurant number 2, so wasn't quite intertwined ready yet. And the budget got majorly screwed over. Majorly screwed. We fucked up on everything. Well, to be fair, it's my responsibility, but it wasn't my area to look after. It was her specific area. We all put our eggs in our own little baskets, but we write on everything. So basically it's like, you have to take care of this, you have to take care of this, you have to take care of this. Let's come to the finishing line together. And you allow people to have some sort of ownership in a business, not by adding finance, by adding responsibility and tasks that will make the final outcome be successful. I think that's very important. And messed up big time. So I had to let her go. The day she started, she had to do payroll for the group. Young girl. She was only, how old was she? Like 24 or something like that.
Wow,
when she first started working for me. She was fucking terrified of me because she just saw the stress that I was portraying. This is, again, after COVID, it all changed, but saw the stress that I was portraying over deadlines not being hit. We were supposed to open in May. We opened in September. The hundreds of thousands overspilling, the usual scenario. And I asked her years later, "Why the fuck did you stay working for me?" She goes, "All my friends told me to get out, but I didn't want to let anyone down or not have anyone. So I said, I'm only going to be with you in her own mind for a few months and just to get you set up, and then I'll leave because this is toxic. This is horrible." And then I was like, "So why the hell are you still here?" Like nearly 10 years later. She goes, "Because you inspired me. Your constant drive to always make the best out of specific people is the only reason why I'm still here." And she grew from operations coordinator to operations director to COO to exec director of the entire company. She is the smartest person who learned on the job as well over this specific field, but had that vision in her eyes. So like I said, inspire a small select people and make them be the best they possibly can. She was very geekily smart, so something I was never really good at. And then from there, we then obviously had Stephen, who's now worked for me for, what has he worked for me? 18 years? Yeah. The chef of Valentine, who was the chef director at the time. He then got kids, realized traveling was difficult, and then now bases himself in Valentine. Jamie, who's been with me for 15 years, he's now the chef's director. Kelvin, the beverage director, been with me before he once started, so like 10 years. George, round about the same, a little less actually, 9. And I think everyone was nowhere near their position of what they were. Everyone has been internally promoted because that they love what the visions are and that whole connecting that we have as a senior team. We don't micromanage. We've got GMs in every site. Each of the managers, each of my directors will deal with them. If I ever have to call someone in for a meeting in my office, they shit their pants because it's not normal. I don't micromanage. I allow people to succeed by allowing them not to truly make mistakes, but also be told before one's about to happen, if you go down that route, you're going to fuck up. You know that, right? And if it's not legal, we'll allow them to make that mistake if we've told them. But if it is legal, they get point blank, no, you're not doing it that way. But surround yourself with a small amount of people that you can really be close to and be not afraid to be told. They're the only people in my group that can say, "Adam, this is a fucking stupid idea," in them words. Anyone else says that to me, they'll be out. But like,
what have been some fucking stupid ideas?
Oh my God, so many. The chocolate shop, when we opened that was Nicola's project as well, because it's a lot of legal stuff, a lot of, we've never really done retail products before. And the amount of issues that you have with everything, especially nutritional values of a product that continually changes, is a nightmare. And it was the packaging, for example. The packaging, which we spent, 200K on in the first order. We wanted something, I wanted something completely different. I wanted this bizarre thing. And she's like, "No."
What did you want in your head?
I wanted things like, imagine opening a Hermes box. That's what I wanted. That vision of, if I'm going to do my first chocolates, Hermes was the brand that we we always pick another brand to piggyback on an inspiration. Frog is like Chanel, timeless. So nothing changes seasonality in terms of Christmas, Halloween, Valentine's Day. Wow. The food changes seasonality, but the environment doesn't. It's timeless.
Yep.
A season will never dictate how that restaurant is going to run.
What about Ugly Butterfly? What's that based on?
Ugly Butterfly wasn't really based on a brand as such, but the artist, Katie J. Dobson. So her art is all about nature and about location done with real things. So we wanted to create a brand where we can use surplus food from our first hotel at the time, and we can repurpose it, give all the revenue to charity, not the profits, the revenue. So we'll take the costs ourselves and give it to Felix Project. So a charity that was repurposing food waste from big suppliers to feed vulnerable people that couldn't quite afford it, food banks, all of that sort of stuff. And the vision was there is no such thing as an ugly butterfly, there is no such thing as food waste. Food waste is an opportunity or laziness. And we use that theme pretty much around art. So the logo is an art piece that she created, and I fell in love with the brand, and then asked, "Can I buy the rights to this piece of art?"
Wow.
Which she kindly said yes to. So it was all built on that.
What about the Tartan Fox?
Tartan Fox was built on history. So a 400-year-old building.
Yeah.
31 years younger than the Taj Mahal. I love that fact.
Yeah.
But where it's... Do you know what a group of...
Wait, so when was the Taj Mahal built?
1637, I think.
This is what, 1200s, 1100s?
31 years younger, so it's 1669 is when the building was built.
Fucking hell, yeah.
When you think about how wonderful British architecture is and how old it is, it's phenomenal.
There's a YouTube channel, I'll send it to you, I'll ping you on WhatsApp, called The Cultural Tutor. Really interesting. I mean, I go down these YouTube curiosity holes, basically. And he goes through all the architecture in London, and it just gives you a fucking appreciation for how the British countryside and London and all the rich... It's such a sort of, it's like a marbling of all these new, the Gherkin, the Shard, but then right next to it is an old pub.
Yeah.
It's like, where in the world has that? It's so wild. It makes me, I love London for that.
Yeah, me too.
But what you're saying is super interesting and actually super valuable for people, because I think...
But let me tell you about the fox name.
Yeah, sorry.
With Tartan Fox, do you know what a group of foxes are called?
Oh my God, we were talking about this last night.
Oh, really?
This is fucking weird. So basically, the gaff I was staying in, there was loads of monkeys, and we were Googling weird names. So my mate so it's a troop of monkeys. Isn't it like a squat? Oh, fuck knows.
An earth.
Oh, yeah, that was it. Yeah.
So an earth, which is like perfect. So we were like, we're going to...
Dolphins is another one. I don't know what fucking dolphins... Anyway, yes. Yeah.
So then we were like, this is where we're building our farms. It's all going to be about us. So we've got 3 farms there. We've got our chickens there. We've got this beautiful barn that we've redeveloped that does like 30 people. A double-tier TP that does 150 people. And we're going to cook everything on fire. But we're going to renovate the building back to its former beauty. So it's going to be stone everywhere.
Sick.
And that was the ethos. And the ethos from the name came after whilst the refurb was happening, because we broke down a wall to bring it back to stone, and there was this painting on the wall that was majorly old, and it was the Fox's Revenge, meaning the name of what it was many moons ago. And I thought...
What, you just discovered?
Yeah. So I never keep the same name as what a previous business was, but I was like, this is pretty cool because it's got a lot of history attached to it. Revenge, too negative for me. Tartan, I'm British. And then let's dive into how can we work with foxes? And then we worked by studying all about foxes. And it was all about Earth. And we built our project based on that.
Yeah.
We were never going to have farms there. It was never going to be about eating from the earth, and it was never going to be about fire cooking. It all came out because we uncovered a piece of art.
Yeah. I think it's just this natural, again, it's sort of, when you said piggyback off brands, that's something that's really, the whole thing of, I love, someone told me this on the podcast, simple does not mean easy. So it's a very simple concept to like borrow off history, really simple concept to borrow off Chanel. Well, no, it's simple, but it doesn't make it fucking easy. It's still really hard.
Sometimes simple is more hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Simplification is the hardest thing ever. It's like cutting things down to its most pure essence is really hard. So just to go into the sort of the Chanel versus Hermes the original Frog versus the chocolate shop. Just talk to me about like the brandosphere of Chanel, the brandosphere of Hermes, and how they just go into that a little bit more, because I think that's really fascinating.
I think when you look at Chanel, you look at, and we always, so our brands always target specific people. The Frog is pretty much to target a woman. That's the target audience that we go for. So we make it very feminine. We make it very very light. We make it very welcoming for a girl, really. I know, I don't know if you can say that anymore, but
I think
it's designed for a lady. And when you look at Chanel, you know its signature pieces without seeing that C. You know how it's it will outlast time. That brand will. Everything that they do will outlast time. It will outlast seasons. It doesn't really change in terms of, you'll never see weird things on for Christmas or anything like that. It stays what it is. It's a true, honest brand that is very proud of what they've created, but you can also tell what it is without seeing the name. Frog, we wanted to do just like that. Never going to be turned by Christmas, by anything like that. Never going to be turned by Valentine's Day. It's going to be completely seasonal in terms of the products we use and the way that it looks, but it's going to always be reminiscent of the frog without even being in the frog. So therefore, you can see one of my dishes in another restaurant that I'm saying doing a collaboration in, and they don't know I'm in the kitchen, and they'll be like, this reminds me of the frog. Fuck yeah, that's my brand. When you can eat one of my dishes somewhere else and it reminds them of them when it actually is, you've done your job. So chicken butter, we have the staples, the caviar waffle, all of them specific things, they are that Chanel suit.
Yes.
You know, they are that. That reminds me of frog. Perfect. Yeah. Timeless.
Yeah.
Obviously, it gets enhanced. We don't just keep a dish on for the 10 years the restaurant's been open. It's been open 8 years. 8 years the restaurant's been open. It does go through a transformation, but the foundations of flavor is always the same.
Yeah. Because this is the explore versus exploit theory, which I don't know who the fuck, someone told me about it, but it's like a big marketing guy told me about it. But it's essentially when you've got a brand which is like super, super strong, and you should exploit that for all it's worth. Mm-hmm. But then if you don't explore, you become... this is so random. It's linked to bees. So bees would often, when they're hunting for honey, would go, like 90% would go and go to the hive or where the honey is. The other 10% would go over here and dance and to signify they found new honey. And it's basically, it applies to business in the sense like, keep doing this, keep the main thing. But if you don't have this percentage of exploring new things, you become passe, pallid, die. And I really want to get into this. So on the 50%, everything has to be 50% frog.
Yep, the whole collection.
The whole collection. What are the brand values you have in place to lock that in first? Mm-hmm. And then how do you allow your chefs to like bees, go and explore different things?
So the 50% frog is all about being British, being sustainable as possible, being luxury, and being timeless. So the chicken butter and the stuff like that must be on all menus. The other 50%, and also how we run our kitchens.
Yeah, go on.
So within my kitchens, I don't care if you're in a pub, one of my pubs, or you're in the Michelin-starred restaurant. You make a sauce, you make a bloody proper sauce. If you're making a carrot puree, you're using the recipe book from the group to make a carrot puree. I'm not saying that all the dishes are the same. They can never afford the same proteins as the frog does than the pubs do. The price point's massively different. But when it comes to the simple foundations of creating a dish, like sauces, they're exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And I think that real drive for perfection in our group, done by the chefs that are in these specific areas, is so bloody romantic. Yeah. And that's the fundamentals. You surround yourself by a few people, you grow together, and you become great. You inspire them. Stephen's been with me, like I said, 18 years. Mm-hmm. He helped me build my brand. So when I moved him to our very first pub, because his dream was always a pub, and because he helped me get out of the hole I got in lockdown, and we made extra revenue, we bought this for him as a present. So he had no idea he was getting a pub, but his dream is always, Jamie's delicate. And so's Cleverson, the head chef of Frog. They're like a little teaspoon of puree on a plate, nice and pretty. Stephen's like, fuck that, give me a big spoon of puree on a plate. I want a big piece of roasted meat or fish, a wonderful sauce, heavily up. And he's Geordie, so he wants a plate of food. So for him, when I bought him this pub, he was so thankful. And I told him the name, the Lock and the Tyne. He's like, why are you calling it that? And I said, well, he was very worried at the beginning because he's always been by my side. And I said, I met you in Newcastle. when I was the chef of the Mile in Newcastle. And then you followed me everywhere. So the Tyne, the River Tyne, is through Newcastle, and a loch is the Scottish waters. And I writ on the back of the menu, that's still there today in writing, that if he ever needs me and he sticks to water, we'll always find each other.
Sick.
So it's, you know, because I think a name must mean something to something.
So I'm picking up, like, you've said romanticism quite a few times. I think there's a deep romanticism to Scottish literature, Scotland.
Yeah.
I think there's romanticism in amazing brands like Chanel, Hermes. There's a like how you know what I was trying to get into this frog. Like, how do you think about romanticism and almost like, I don't know, it's like some of the best writers are Scottish. Some of the best fucking, you know, Train Spotting, like Ivan Welsh. Like, there's some really good writers. Yeah. Like, how do you think about that in the way you kind of what you've just said with the Finders by Water, the Loch and the Tyne, but just go into that a bit more.
Well, I think it's easy to use Scottish stuff because it's pretty bloody good. You know, we have the best seafood, the best fish, the best game, the best meat. It's really quite easy to become, I'm Scottish, be proud of it, use it on all the menus. Apart from Cornwall. Cornwall doesn't use any Scottish ingredients, apart from scallops occasionally. But other than that, nothing. They are hyper local to the southwest. But everywhere else, the Loch and the Tyne frog, they need to use Scottish ingredients. Even the chocolate shop need to use Scottish ingredients inside of their food.
Sick. And are there any, like, you know, those little magical storytelling pieces through, you know, whether it's on the menu or like how people go into the restaurant or the way they're welcomed or almost away from the food, more like kind of the cinema of service. Like, how does that kind of romanticism play out in that?
Well, with the frog is everything a guest would want or should want should always be given without a guest asking for it. That I love that sort of service. I'm a very weird chef. I'm very front of house focused, and George is a very weird restaurant director. He's very kitchen focused. So we're not much this is, you know, when you watch Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, you've got one being on one side, one being on another, and it's like fuck you, none of that stuff here. We care so much more about our other areas that it works seamlessly together. And I think if you allow chefs to have more input on how something is perhaps explained, so let them serve it, how it is finished at the table, so make them serve it. Don't let them make them. When you get them to be on the floor, they'll realise I'm not going to create a dish that's going to put a front of house in the shit again in case I have to do it myself on the floor. You know, there are so much things outside there where if you work together, you can achieve anything. And you know, that there is already romantic. But for Frog, we have a team, well, for the whole group, we have a team of 7, and their sole job is to, how do I say this nicely? Research every single guest. Every single guest that comes in. Bar, chocolate shop, everywhere. Research everyone.
Wow. How, like?
By using social media, using ChatGPT, using any sort of platform that's digital.
Sick.
If you don't want to be found, get your stuff off online. If it's online, it's free for all. And with that, we will always look for things like if we find a guest coming to, say, Frog or the other one, or any of the restaurants, and we see that they have children or they have a dog, and we find their name of the dog, or we find the name of their children, or we see they're drinking a beer with a different hand. We mark, could be left-handed. We do all of that inside of it. You see them with a San Pellegrino sparkling water. They drink sparkling. You know, there are so many things that we can get you going that when a guest, say, comes to the Frog and we don't bring up, we know your family, 'cause that's fucking weird. But we would start with, instead of still or sparkling, we'll say sparkling or still. Right there, that little factor of saying what they already like first means that it's straight away. Simple things like that.
Simple's not easy. Give me some more examples on this, because I love this stuff I could just wank over, brother. I love it.
So when it comes to dining in restaurants, in all of our restaurants, we have a ridiculous portfolio for every guest when they transfer to and from. All notes come from it, and there is always.
So if I was in the Loch and Tyne, went to the Ugly Butterfly,
we'll know exactly what you had, how you were as a person, how many times you went for a piss. We'll know if you're left or right-handed, what water you drank. One of the things which we started doing it for is to see how much guests spend. Because I don't want guests to go to one of our restaurants where they've spent £30 bottle of wine, or go to another, spent £100 bottle of wine, and then the £30 bottle of wine, they go to the Frog and someone tries to upsell them a £200 bottle of wine. You've made that guest feel shit. Because you know they can't afford it, because your previous history tells you their wine budgets. So if you can work on people's spending matters with without being a twat about it. The worst thing in the world are French sommeliers where they make everyone feel like shit, and that because they don't know enough about them, or they upsell wine that is outside of someone's price point, where a lot of guests will say, you know what, yeah, we'll do it. It's a special occasion.
Yeah.
They'll enjoy the wine. They'll get the bill. It will ruin the meal. Finance is so important to be able to make synergy from restaurant to restaurant and make every guest feel comfortable. Someone said drinking Salon by the glass. We do Salon by the glass for, I think it's like £190 a glass or whatever. They're drinking that wine. They know the price because they've ordered it off the menu. You know you can play with them in our other restaurants. You can't do that if someone's ordering a glass of my English sparkling.
I interviewed Sat Baines, which was a great pod, and he was saying his whole thing is allow your customers to spend money.
Never customers, always guests.
Sorry, guests, yeah. But and we'll talk about that, because again, these little things mean a lot. But he was basically saying that, you know, you can get people, he'll change a different menu, or he'll open up a spot for guests to come in the evening. Like, you know, just allow your customers to spend money. Whereas I feel like, with the hooty-footy wankiness of hospitality, i.e. the archetypal French sommelier, it's like, you are too poor to spend money. Like, that just needs to vanish, especially in today's landscape. Guest versus customer, what's the difference?
Customer is a transaction. Guest is an experience made. If you look at every person that comes into your restaurant like a transaction, you will build zero relationship. And we are in the hospitality industry. It's to be hospitable. Yes, we're to make money, and yes, it's a business at the end of the day. But we need to get out of our mindset that everyone that comes in is the wealthiest person in the world. You need to tailor your service to people and how they are.
I like your rule of shorts versus suit. I think it was. I don't remember, but besides that, how would you tailor? Say I walked in like this, like I'm basically in fucking holiday, versus someone in a three-piece suit, same restaurant, same time span with i.e. Chanel. How do you keep the brand consistency and brand adaptability?
Unless it was the last table, you'll be moved to a more suitable person because we have 3 sections. We got 27 seats in Frog, but that's split over 3 sections, and you'll be tailored to someone who's better suited for you. So if you come in 3-piece suit, one, we would have known you would have done that based on what we would have found about you. Or if you came dressed like the way that I go to my restaurants dressed the same way, because that's who I am there, we would have technically found it. But if you did put a spanner in the works and just come out at the spur of the moment, post this, come this way. Yeah, you would have confused us. But everyone is welcome. We tend to find people that dress up want more of an experience. People that dress more casual, they do this for a living and they just want great food. We have a lot of single diners. A lot. And some want experiences, some just want to be left alone because they eat like this every day. We got this one guest last year, must have eaten about 89 times.
80 really?
On his own. The most wonderful person in his world, doesn't like any attention.
Yeah.
Doesn't like any attention at all. Doesn't drink so much alcohol. That was just for Frog. We've got so many big regulars that come to our groups. So many. We've got one from Cornwall that comes to the mall as well, who came on Christmas on his own as well. So we created a table just for him.
Wow.
Because he was just like, yeah, I'm on my own this Christmas. And I know it's so last minute. Do you have a table? We will make you a bloody table. And he had been between the 2 restaurants like 100 times last year or something like that.
Amazing.
And I think this is because they're made to feel like guests and not made to feel like a transaction. It's very important that you look at that. And that's a weird coming from a chef. Build them an experience, get to know people. They have to write down one piece of weird information about the guests that goes to reception, that goes on their profile.
Sorry, who has to write it?
The waiting team. So anyone
they have
to find out one thing, and if they don't, they need to get a bloody good reason. Language barriers, doesn't really want to talk, which you do get them. Specific parts of the world, guests who come, they're like, "Fuck off, man! Just let me eat my food."
It's interesting because, like, again, some of the ways I get guests on the show, especially in the early. Now it's slightly different because we've got momentum, but it was I'd find out one weird thing and basically tailor a weird gift to do something kind of weird. We've got Will Godari, who wrote Unreasonable Hospitality.
Nice.
Yeah. He 11 Madison Park.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to Nashville in a couple of weeks to get him on. to do the podcast. But where we got him on was we found out he likes candles. I went to Chelsea, got this personalised matchbox, made the candle in the air, like doing these little things because I really want to get this going in America. And I think but that finding one weird fact out is, and what are some of those facts? Like, is it as innocuous as your dog's name or like?
We would normally find that stuff out ourselves. It needs to be something weird, like something which we can't find out ourselves.
Yeah.
I won't go into some detail.
Them to, again, because there's much.
The only way you can get a conversation out of someone is to start a conversation.
Yeah.
It's the only thing. It's just like me and you speaking.
Yeah.
But one's serving one's food and the other one's eating it or pouring the wine, but you can still bloody chat to people. And people that come for an experience, like I said, some don't want it. The majority of people are very excited to be there, so they're verbal diarrhea. And you can get wonderful things out of them.
Amazing. What are some of the other? I've been to Ugly Butterfly with my family, which was astoundingly delicious. As I said, my best mate Squelch lives right by Lock and Tyne, so I've been on. Well, less now, so because he's got 3 kids, but smashed the fucking shit out of that when that opened up, and it was amazing. Those cheese donuts, like sort of little globes or planets of just
yumminess,
squidgy deliciousness. Yeah, so good. But what are the other things you sort of think about with Frog? The kind of the intangible brand magic. I know we've talked about the weird thing, which I love.
So the way we always say, it's the way someone's made to feel and the way that they know they're in one of our restaurants by the flavors they're eating. Sauces are very important to my group. So I would say they're the main ones there. So when you go to Lock and Tyne, it's 50% there. So it's in Berkshire. It needs to be British. It needs to be sustainable in terms of buy whole, use it all. And it needs to be proper cooking, just because this pub doesn't have it. The other 50% is tailor it more to the location and more to the team. Not just the chef, the team. So I think that's the other 50%. Stephen helped me build the Frog. So it's very easy for him to do that. He has the ethos of how we created our group embedded into his soul. So for him, he can walk into a place and it's like he's back in a restaurant, but he wants to stand on his own 2 feet.
Yeah.
And he's very honest about what he wants out of life in terms of, I don't care about tasting menu. I want someone to come and eat. I want to go to Frog for a special occasion. I want people to come to this restaurant every fucking day. So I want the menu to be ever changing. I want specials flying out the door like there's no tomorrow. I want to be in such communications with all suppliers that we will be able to create things all the time. And every time I go and work in that kitchen, it's electric. The guests there, we have a 36% return rate in the group as a whole. The entire collection together is there. Lock and Tyne has about a 70% return rate every day.
So I thought it was a genius move because Berkshire, I don't know, maybe we can explore this, but my mate, because we often go to Marlow, it's not a million miles away. It's about 45 minutes from Datchet. And we love our whole relationship. Well, it was started as partying, but now it's sort of moved to food. But, so we'd go to Marlow because you've got all sorts of Tom Kerridge there. Mm-hmm. You've got loads of a flourishing of amazing restaurants. But so you're kind of in that. Windsor's, I think the food scene in Windsor's is, well, before you guys, there was fuck all there.
I agree.
And so it's like did you like look at the competitive landscape and be like, right, this is affluent, we're right next to, what's the thing where they do?
Elton John lives right next door. You've got Ascot around the corner.
Yeah, Ascot. What's the...
Eton.
Ascot, Eton. What's the fucking... Begins with a W, where they play the golf.
Oh, yeah, I forgot the name, but yeah.
Anyway, to be honest, bare minted people basically there.
Yeah, for sure.
But it felt like there was no... So what's the business? Did you do a analysis, or was it very guttural, like we just found this boozer?
So when we found the place, one of our board of directors' friends used to own the building, right. And he was just like, something's going on the market if you want it. It's in Windsor. I was like, we're only in London. But he's like, well, we're closing a lot in London. This is a really good steal at the moment, actually. Come and have a look with me. And we'll have a look, then you make your mind up if you want it. And I went into it and I immediately fell in love with the place. I said, this is beautiful because I love quintessential British. And we have to do a business analysis. We do a comp analysis with everything around. You're looking at it thinking, is there even people around here? Because everything around here is chains and not so good food. There's a lot of pubs, but they're not like pubs that I would like to say, I don't want to be mean because they may just be the skills
they're
that
water
they're.
boozers.
Yeah,
There's actually a really good pub. As you come up left, Valentine,
Yeah.
and you're going towards there, and you go left again towards Co-op. That's a proper good drinking boozer. I don't know if you've ever been there. Maybe not if you've got your. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good fucking boozer, but there's no.
They're not foodie places.
Yeah.
Which we all love. But so we did that. We were worried slightly that if we were to open this place, is it going to succeed? Because it was already a fine dining restaurant when we took it over, and that's what the previous business was. But sadly, didn't quite make it. So I'm like, if a fine dining business doesn't succeed in that area, there's no real food destination places around here unless you're going to Marlow, which is a while away. Is it going to succeed? And then you just seeing the potential that I know Stephen would love this as a present, and I know for a fact he'll make it successful. So me and Nicola, George and Jamie quietly created the plan, finances, everything, without him not even knowing. And then that was when we gave him this little plaque where it was Adam Handling Collection, opening date, Stephen Kerr, proprietor. And I gave him that with a contract and a bottle of Krug, because all celebrations should be done with Krug. And we were like, we have a little present for you. So he opened it up. He was like, what the fuck is this? What the hell's Lock in Time? Like, he didn't even see the logo. And I was like, and here's the contract. Here's the contracts. I signed it.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is yours now. I signed it to you.
That's amazing.
So I still own it, but it's his soul. It's his family. His missus works there as the pastry chef. His kids are always there. And it's his soul, which is beautiful.
Yeah. What I wanted to ask you about is kind of the bit more of your sort of business acumen side of things, and like what you've learned about making money, making a lot of money. Like, I want to make serious dough out of this. I'll be unapologetic about that. Why I'm really interested to speak to you specifically now is with my business, we have multiple verticals. So before we just had sort of sponsorship revenue, which was good. We now do, we did 4 supper clubs last year. We do a live podcast, get loads of people in the room. Great, like really good revenue, but also great for brand. We're then doing we package up a lot of the lessons and go in and sell these into big corporates as well. And then we're trying to do this sort of members club thing, but that's like a collective thing, but that's kind of separate. But what's the art of making a lot of money in this game? Like, what have you learned about that first? And then how do you manage across so many different things? Because again, I asked all these questions selfishly. Is the wheels spin out pretty quickly when, like, if I'm looking on Slack and I've got like 8 different fucking channels, mate, like, do you know what I mean? It's tricky.
I think the reason, when I started making a lot of money was when I allowed other people to make money for me. I think if you, being the chef of the brand, is always like, I have to do everything, I have to do every menu tasting, menu signing, menu creation, all of that. You're missing the key focuses where you need to pinpoint your brain, your passions, which is business development. The creation of making sure it's always going to be stable. What can you do outside there? I could be in a restaurant, or I can be doing an event somewhere that boosts that month's worth of revenue, straight doubles it, because I've managed to do one of them sort of things. Or creating products. I think, I'm very fortunate that I make 10 plus million a year in our little collection, and this new year is going to be really good. But it takes 300 odd staff to do it. And the only reason we went for that...
That's 10 revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. So we do a lot. We do. It's been very difficult profit-wise for the last year. But the year before that, we would make... Well, I can be quite honest. We would make just shy of £2 million profit.
Fucking banging.
Which is... last year, we didn't make that. We made quite a considerable less. But technically, it's January, so I won't know the real finances to the end of this month. But it was more than half less of that. But that's because of the climate.
Yeah.
But we didn't downgrade any of our products. We didn't downgrade any of our staff. We didn't downgrade any of the things that would have affected the guests just to take a little bit more extra profit out of the business. We kept it all fighting, and we use our ways to clamp down on operational expenses to be able to take that surplus of inflation. Because we realized that whenever there's a sticky situation, it's very temporary. You need to make sure you don't get scared. It's like when you get a stock and you see it drops, people buy out. Why? Now you've lost your money. stay in the bloody stock. If it's a good stock, I'm not a financial advisor, but it will bounce back up. And it's the same as business. If you cut all your suppliers and be like, downgrade your meat, downgrade your fish, start buying this, start buying that, the guests will experience your stress through your shit food. And they'll be like, this isn't as good as it was before.
It's on that point of like staying in the eye of the storm when things. It's good news travels slowly, bad news travels fast.
Oh, for sure.
And we get and it's interesting. So like that Paul Smith bag I've got, I'll show you afterwards. It's a Paul Smith. Well, for listeners, I've taken this round with me. If my mum got me that for Christmas like 20 years ago, I was looking for a fucking bag. I was like, I'm packed so last minute. I was like, take that. But it's a picture of the skyline of London.
Nice.
And, it's a grey and foggy, then you've got a mini on the front. But you look at how small the buildings are. You've got literally the Gherkin. You go and look at that same view now, it's like this. And it's like, that's 20 years ago. Look at all the progress that's happened. But because good news travels slow, we don't look at it. We look at like that bad thing's happened, where everything's fucked, hospitality's fucked, the world's fucked. Because we kind of get off on it. But if you just allow things to pass... And you almost need these, again, history's really good at making you realise that things are actually going up like that in the long term.
For sure.
So how did you, so on that note, so it's like...
So when it came to really making profit,
yes,
we could have either done things like expand even quicker. After lockdown, we said, no, we're not doing that. So what we'll do, we'll invest pretty much all of the profits back into the business. So when I say I make just shy of £2 million, we put pretty much all of that back in the business. Redoing the Frog Kitchen, the Frog Kitchen cost me a fortune. We did 3 floors of kitchens, redoing Lock and Tyne's kitchen, put it all in the business. We build a brand for longevity. Well, I don't need why do I need money in my pocket now? Yes, I need to survive. That's too much. Put it back into the business, make it better. Get new guests coming through the doors. Wow them even more. Get awards. Whenever you get awards, your team around you, they get that pat on the back. There's only so many times I can say after service, we all smashed that. That was awesome. You're great. They're like, thanks, chef. They get a Michelin star. They're like, we fucking did it. We did it. And it's such a wonderful feeling for them. So my advice, and even this year, so we've closed Ugly Butterfly for 6 weeks. Even we made our lowest profit in history. For 6 weeks for a mammoth refurb. We've closed Tartan Fox for a mammoth refurb. The chocolate shop reopens in 2 weeks, another kitchen. We've put more than double our profit back into the business in the first quarter of 2026.
Sick.
And the reason for that is that's why people like working in our group, because it's not so much yes, okay, I have nice things, but I'll fucking work for it. But we put most of it back in to make the business better for not just for the team. Like when I say you need to educate, inspire, motivate. You can't motivate someone if they don't have a good enough kitchen to work with. You can't motivate someone if they're working on chip plates or they're working on stroggy chopping boards or a walk-in fridge. Every time you open the door, the handle folds off. You're like, fuck me, I'm in the shit and I need my meat out there. You have to motivate them by giving them the tools to be able to do their jobs. But also, they sit on a balance sheet. So as a business, it's not really doing very much, but only just, depreciating very slightly. But for me, people get scared too much of putting more money in when troubles happen. If you have it, make it better for the guests. If you don't, keep it in your back pocket, but don't, please don't buy a cheaper product, an inferior product. Cut down on staffing, cut down on the experience your guests once had, because when they come back and experience an inferior one, they will never come back. And they do not give 2 fucks if they think, oh, they're struggling, it's okay. Same price on the menu. They know. They're also struggling.
It goes back to that short-term financial decision versus long-term brand value creation, which is so fucking hard.
I'll tell you as well, which is probably one of my most exciting things to date that we're doing. Everyone knows that I love caviar. It's not British, but I love caviar a lot. And our group goes through one hell of it through the entire collection. They buy a lot. One of the things that we were looking at is we go through, 2 tons of caviar or something like that within the group, or we forecasted to do this year on specific things that we're doing. How do we maximize on that? How do we still give all that on a plate? Let's go direct. Cut out a middleman. Create your own farms. So we have a new brand launching next month.
Wow.
Called, it's,
I'm handling Caviar.
Aurelia. So it's Aurelia.
How do you spell that?
Well, don't ask me that. It's Aurelia. So it's like a cross between the goddess of love. It's a cross between the goddess of the ocean, pearls, but also a slight mumble of letters because Caviar is under, so it's AHC, Adam Handling Collection.
Yeah.
So it's not going to have my name on it because I don't really care so much about it being a show off to me. We're creating a business plan that will help all the restaurants out there being able to not cut down on how much caviar they put on their plate, because we're not undercutting everyone to take it. We're undercutting everyone to be like, we don't need to have that much profit on every tin of bloody caviar. My idea for caviar in my restaurants are, if I can buy it cheaper, I can add more to a guest. This is the same ethos I'm going to roll out, so that if any chef wants to continue the luxuries without having to up their prices or add little amount on a plate, they can hopefully get on board with this brand. So it launches next month. It's been in the process for a long time in the making. It's costing us an absolute fortune to do as well. But I am so excited. The cost savings within our group was ridiculously incredible. So if we can even scratch a smidge of that with other chefs' restaurants that want to stay using the best ingredients ever, like say caviar, but they have to reduce it or remove it because they can't afford to buy it anymore, now they could.
Amazing.
That's the plan. So we're saying it's London's best kept secret.
Yeah.
Launches in Q1 of 2026. So we are talking about you trying to go for 2 stars, or do you want? Yeah.
So what are the? See, Frog's got 1 star. I think one of the goals for when this go will be live is to get 2 this year.
Yes.
What are you putting in place differently, or how are you getting there?
So we made Cleverson the proprietor in August of Frog. So he's been with me since the day before the place had even opened. And I'm based now in Ugly Butterfly and in Tartan Fox in Cornwall, so I can really ramp up them operations. And the only way that we can change for him to do that is to let him show his skills a little bit more. He's a phenomenal chef, but he's been under my shadow for so long. There's no doubt about it. Every dish that he puts through needs approval because it's the frog, it's the baby. But he's using a different mind frame of thinking about food under the same umbrella of sustainable British luxury and coming up with his new ideas. The business will only progress if it has new ideas come through the doors. So he brings new ideas to the table about how he can change the frog. And we allow him to do it. The team is phenomenal. We've invested heavily into the front of house. So we got this GM called Lorenzo, used to be Claude Bossy's GM. He is incredible person and very hungry as well, but believes in the brand, believes in that one restaurant. So we're investing in people inside of that operation rather than things. The restaurant already has everything you can possibly bloody imagine.
Yeah.
So it's investing in people to make that go reality.
But and that's what it is. Is that kind of what it is? That's the next thing that takes a restaurant from 1 star to a 2 star?
I think it allows, more finesse, more tighter ships. Lorenzo's been 2 stars for most of his career, so him being there will give me the insights of experiences I've never done. I don't own a 2-star restaurant. So, like I mentioned, bring someone in who's better than you or at least has experience in fields where you want to go to. One of the things I've always done is never ask advice from someone who isn't where you want to be.
Yeah.
And I think if you ask advice of people where you want to be, then that'll help you move forward. But there's too many of these ones. You ask your friend, what should I do about this? I think you should do this, blah, 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 blah. Why the fuck are you asking them? They're literally 5 steps behind you. It's really good to, and I don't mean that disrespectful about bouncing ideas off of people, but I mean like proper business decisions that don't just affect the direction of the restaurant, but also the team as well. The team are very important too, because if they're not happy, your guests will bloody see it. So invest in people. We're investing heavily into the operation always. The Frog gets the most cash refurbed every single year. Keeping the team strong as hell and being honest. So we're like when we do our next year meetings. So for instance, Q4 last year, we're like, what's the goal for next year? 2-star operation. Perfect. I don't think I'm going to get 2 stars next year. I hope it'll be the year after. If we don't, we'll work harder. No one's going to be like, fuck Michelin, they're not very good, blah, blah, blah. They don't know what they're talking about. They know what they're talking about. We messed up. We work harder. We come back fighting. So people that blame awards for not getting the awards that they want, it's because there was a crack in your foundations, not theirs. So use it as fire under your belly to succeed and be stronger and fight harder and cook better. That's the only way you get it. But we have to still be busy. So the only thing I will not change is we do 100 covers a day in the Frog. I cannot drop the covers down, or I'll have to make sacrifices on team. So we got 63 staff inside that restaurant for 27 covers. It's a 6-day operation. If I move down to 5 days a week, I have to remove some staff. If I do that, I'll massively hinder on revenue, which will then come into profit, which will mean less refurb moving forward. So I cannot, as a business mind, this is where logic in business is very different. Passion in business is very different. Passion will be like, fuck it, let's make it 4 days a week. Let's run with a core team and let's just do the best we can with 20 covers. Sounds wonderful. That business will not financially survive. To be sustainable, change that word sustainability because it's overused. It's tomorrow. So if I want to have a sustainable restaurant, I've got to make sure it's open tomorrow. I've got to make sure the team are educated to be able to cook better tomorrow. I've got to make sure that the dish that we made today is better tomorrow. All of that is being sustainable.
Yes. There's a lot. This what you've said is so powerful, and just trying to I would love to get into hard work. So I think it's I know you're notorious for just a relentless, maniacal work ethic. Take me through what it actually takes to do this. And again, appreciate every day is different, but is there a typical week would look like for you? How you're across so many different things. On a Monday morning, what happens? What are the systems and then the hours that make this whole fucking Rolex machine ecosystem tick, essentially?
So I would always say a founder would do this, but an employee wouldn't, because I live to work, not work to live. If I'm not working, I'm very destructive. I'm grumpy, I'm whatever. I need to be surrounded by people. I need to be in an operation. I have to be working. I live for it. I love it. But I don't expect employees to do that. But if it's your own bloody business, you have to do it. You literally have to do it. So if you don't want to do it, don't start a business. My week is, we always do a 10-10. So we have 10 minutes for all restaurants and bars and chocolate shops to tell us what happened yesterday, financial, guest experience-wise, good and bad. And then today, financially, what's happening, guest experience, staffing, issues.
Why is it called 10-10? So 10 minutes?
So 10 minutes at 10 o'clock, all the restaurants, they have 2.5 minutes each where they...
Zoom?
Yeah. So we do that, and they cannot speak more than 2.5 minutes, or they have to wait until the end when everyone goes. Then they get the relevant people, and there's about 30 people on this call, all the directors, all the GMs, all the head chefs, and it's so that they can see the power behind the drive of the group, that every collection is gunning. And that wonderful, cute competition that they have where Valentine beat the revenue of Tart and Fox. Guys, are you going to up your game today? Yeah, I'm going to make sure I sell more donuts. I'm going to make sure that we think of an idea to work with steak. So maybe we buy a special in. Stephen's like, yeah, sure, I'm going to up mine. I'm going to buy Dover soles in. It'll fly out the door. So that's the financial side of life. Yeah. But also the constructive one is we have an ecosystem that works together. We do a lot of foraging that we store in one specific place. We have a lot of things where Ugly Butterfly makes the sauce for Tart and Fox.
Yeah.
For example. So it's a very intertwined operation. And that's because the Ugly Butterfly is a seasonal restaurant, but I wouldn't say it's a carbon copy of Frog, because it's got its own identity. It's got a little bit more skilled chefs inside of that one, that we want to make sure that the consistency of, say, a sauce, which is very important and very powerful for a dish, is the same. So they can speak about on there of what they need to enhance their days. And also if people called in sick, we can fix it immediately.
10 a.m., 10 minutes, 10 a.m. every single day.
Every single day.
Wow.
Yeah, and then from there, we do an in-depth meeting after lunch service. So it's usually about 3 o'clock every day, or it's straight after the 10 o'clock meeting, 15 minutes past, depending on which one it is. So Monday's our director's meeting, and we only have 45 minutes. Fucking waffling for meeting's sake is counterproductive, and you just get bored. You forget what it does. So it comes when every meeting has an agenda and it gets attacked. So Monday is them, Tuesday is Frog, Wednesday is Valentine, Thursday is Ugly Butterfly, Friday is Tart and Fox. same time after as well, and that's where it's a little bit more detailed about events that are happening there. So it's basically the next 2 weeks, the past last week, in that 1 week, in that 145 minutes. And it breaks it down into everything. And the whole thing about transparency in a business, that financial, guest reviews, morale and the teams, transparency is the only way, the honesty within inside of the circle.
It makes total sense.
So you need to tell your staff, guys, like, did you need to have that many staff on by the hour? You fucking did no covers. It's all about being able to stay open.
Just constant communication.
Yeah, constant communication.
And then once that's done, like, when does the creative side come?
After that, straight away. So depending where I am in the kitchen of where I am every single day.
Yeah.
Every day, and I'm on whenever it's. I'll do a lot more admin-y side of things and development side of things. When service is on, there is not a single direct. You can go to my head office, no one will be in it. Every director, apart from Nicola, they have a job to do when service has arisen.
So talk me through each one.
So for instance, George is restaurant director. If you're in London, he's in the Frog. Other than that,
He's in Cornwall. Okay.
yeah, but other than that, George is based in Valentine. That's his home. So we always pinpoint one of us to be in every specific place so that we can, we're quick reactive. That's where we're going to be every day of the week. Whenever there's an issue, we'll switch and change. So George is in Valentine, predominantly most of it. Nicola is in Frog, so a head office area, or Valentine.
She lives there, or she lives.
No, none of us, we all live in London.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like. Sorry. That's like their head office.
Yeah. So we have a
like boots on the ground.
Yeah, we have a 5-story head office just around the corner from the Savoy.
Yeah.
So we do our meetings in there. Nicola will be there like 8 o'clock every single morning, 7 o'clock every morning. She's an early bird. She likes to get all of her work done before everyone else comes in. And so would the ops team be there. My PA will be there. The chocolate team is based there. They're based in that building as well. But then the Kelvin is everywhere. He is literally the beverage director because we have 3 pubs and bars as well. So he travels pretty much daily to every one of them. But during service, he's on service. He'll have his 2 days off, but he'll be, unless it's summer, then we all work like crazy people. Jamie is based absolutely everywhere, including events. So chef director. So for instance, he's in London at the moment doing an event that we're doing in February, doing some tastings there. Then he'll be in Valentine. Then he's coming to London while I land back there to redo the Frog menu with me, Cleverson, and him. Then he'll be in Cornwall with me first in Ireland doing an event, and then he'll be doing an event with me, relaunching Ugly Butterfly with me because that's where I'm based. And it works pretty much like that. We really that's why the directors' meetings are very important, because the directors' meetings are for the next 3 months, and it's repetitive as hell, but it's just so everyone knows what's going on.
It's that military discipline almost.
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to ask you about is how, and like tell me to fuck off. We don't have to go here at all. But I know you went through like a tricky period. You had your son, is it Oscar or Oliver? Oliver. And you split up with your partner. A lot of people listening to this, I've got friends who are in tricky situations when a kid gets involved. You're building all this business. How did you navigate that period? How was that? And was that tricky for you?
I think it was.
Was that? And again, we don't have to go here. So.
No. It was very difficult because it was a situation which I couldn't control. And I think I hate being made to feel stupid.
Yeah.
And if there was a situation where I didn't know something, I'd study it. Tomorrow, ask me the same question, I'll tell you the answer to it. But that's my personality. But when it's specific stuff like the separation, and it all started pretty much because of social media. People, I'm a big boy now. It hurt me at the time, but there was a lot of negativity about me in social media from things which no one's met me. But everyone just jumped on a bandwagon and assumed everything was correct.
Well, it's like cancel culture.
Oh, it is. Do I care about it now? Not really at all. But I did at the time. This was the same time lockdown was going on as well. So I was losing everything. I was losing my relationship. I was losing my son. I was losing my restaurants. I was losing my parents' house. I was losing fucking everything. And I'm looking around thinking, do I just want to jump off that fucking balcony and make everyone's life easier? And it was the Nicolas, it was the Georges, it was the Stevens, it was them people that I've said will always have my back. They're the ones that were like, fuck them. And yeah, they say that to you, but you're like, no, I'm not going to. It still hurts me. I get Daily Mail starts to speak about it. You click on the comments and it's like a scary movie. I've always been like this. I used to be terrified of Jurassic Park when I was a little boy, when it first came out. I had to watch the whole movie or it was game over. I'd have nightmares forever. And it's just like that. Even now, I have the same tact of what I had as a child, where I have to read every single comment.
Are you are you like a sensitive teddy bear underneath the...
Well, I wouldn't say I was, but I won't show emotion in public very much.
Yeah.
I'll do it behind closed doors. And I'm not going to... Every fucker cries. And if you don't, you're a liar. Or you have no soul. But yeah, there are times where it gets me and I'm in the shower thinking, fucking hell. But I have to pretend when I go into my work, nothing's bothering me at all.
And how often do you get to see your son?
Quite regularly. We had him for Christmas this year, which was beautiful. Holly has a phenomenal relationship with Oliver.
Holly's
yeah. They have a very, very good relationship together, and so does Oliver. Oliver grew up in the Frog, so when he comes, it's like Uncle George, it's like Uncle Jamie, it's like Nicola, and it's really quite funny because I'll walk into the office and I'll see them FaceTiming my son. They just chat. He'll just call them to be like, and how are you? How's the chocolate shop going? Or where are you? You in the Fox? Because we have another house down in Cornwall too. So he's like, are we going to Daddy's house by the beach, or are we going in London? And he's so involved and so inquisitive. And like I said, when you mentioned about how I was as a child, about not having the energy that a child gives off tailored, stuff that I didn't give a shit about. I was being disruptive, English, maths and all that jazz. Everything that he's quite inquisitive about, I go down that path with him, always. So when we're going out, he loves food, but he doesn't, I will never correct him on what he gets wrong. So for instance, he's very much, every protein is chicken, every meat is chicken, every seafood that comes from the sea is fish. So he can be eating venison tartare, beef Wellington, pork. This chicken's amazing, and he's very appreciative. It's the best food I've ever tasted. And I'm never going to say to him, that's not venison, that's beef. No, he'll find that out on his own, because as soon as you start to correct a child when they're passionate about something, about what they're saying is wrong, they'll lose that passion. Who does it bother that he's calling pork chicken, beef chicken?
Yeah.
Some sad human being is just going to do it. So and he fucking loves it because he feels that he's connected by me, or he's connected with me by a joint passion. And I think the joint passion was perhaps something I didn't have as a child, and that made me an asshole. So I will make sure that's one of the reasons why we created the chocolate shop. My son doesn't like chocolate. I wanted to create everything from start to finish to be able to be like, well, this is how we got you eating vegetables. You were in the gardens in Lochentine and we were digging it up and you were making your salad and everything was the best he's ever tasted. Chocolate, he still doesn't like chocolate, but he tries.
I tried that problem.
Yeah, me too.
About 4 Kit Kat Chunkies when I got in last night. It's fascinating. And what are some of the hard things you'd want him to go through? Because I don't think a bubble-wrapped existence for a child, not that I've got kids, but you want them to go through some hardships, because that's, as we were saying, when you're buried, the seed grows and you blossom. What are some of the hard things that you've been through that you'd want him to go through? Yeah, without a character assassination.
He's very soft, and he is bubble-wrapped. Now that he has 2 homes to live in, I think it's perhaps not as disciplined. It's definitely disciplined when it comes to me, but it's not as disciplined in both houses the same. And I would like that to change, because the boy needs to know he can't get everything he wants. He's not God's gift to humanity. And yes, he's an adorable child. It's really difficult because his grandparents is bloody Thai. So he's a super white kid because he takes after my skin color, blue eyes, but his mum's Thai. And it's just like, he's the prized possession to a Thai grandmother. So it's just trying to be like, would you please stop peeling his grapes for him? Let him fucking eat the grape skin. Let him do this. He's like, no, I'm not going to do the accent, but he's like, no, it's my grandchild. I'll do everything I want. And I'm like,
yeah, that's fascinating.
And
obviously we're in Phuket now. We're in Thailand. How would you say the Scottish and Thai cultures are similar and different?
I think they're similar because they're proud of where they come from.
Yep.
They've got a very long history in terms of products, what they have in each country. I think the flavour combinations are completely bloody different.
Yep.
Completely different, but they're both islands as well, so seafood is very important for them. So I think the proudness of location is very important. Like my dream, I'm going to go off on a tangent here. My dream is to make Britain an actual, and I hate the word cuisine because it's not British either, to make it a cuisine that people come to the UK to be like, I want to go to a British restaurant. But, you know, during Queen Victoria's reign, World War II, Britain, within the first one, Britain got sought after of being wealthy and powerful if they're eating things from the other side of the world. Pineapple, for example, is the gift that you give people. You know, what's better than a fucking massive basket of strawberries, you know? And then World War II, when Germany was shooting all of the boats coming in with products. And then we literally got in the shit in this country because we were not self-sufficient. We've always had the mindset is it's better to get from abroad because we can. We're Britain, we're powerful. And we learned that we learnt the foundations of it. You go to any Thai grandmother and they can cook their socks off. You know, you go to lots of, you know, British grandparents, some of them can cook, quite a lot can, the next generation can't. You know, it's passed down to be able to provide, eat from the land, eat from what is there. My dream is to change that and have people understand what British food is all about. Gone are the days French word is used to describe something posh. Crème brûlée. Fucking hell, you're taking a piss. It's made in Cambridge. Why are we say its exact translation is English cream? Why are we making French words on our specific products when a dish that was created in Cambridge University is called crème brûlée, but yet on a menu, Cambridge burnt cream, crème brûlée's posh because it's French. Why? Come on.
Yeah.
I want to change the mindset about what British food is all about.
What would be your utopia in, say, I don't know, 10, 15 years' time, if we could paint that picture?
Well, I got honoured by the King 2 years ago. I got an MBE for my services to British hospitality.
Amazing.
Thank you. That was literally the biggest achievement of my life because it means I'm on the right path. But I want people to, well, I've got two different legs to that. Around the world, I want to create I wouldn't say the history book because the history book is all covered in French terminology and covered in French chefs creating it. There are still some British stuff, but it's not pure. It's covered in foreign words. I want there to be a British cookbook where the foundations is completely non-existent, but it's all about the products that we have, so we can create something magical. We have a complete blank book to be like, what is British? You know, what is British? And because it's the products that we use here, the way that we do them is completely new. I'm not saying don't put a tartare on the menu.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying like Core's new restaurant, for example. You know, re-highlighting what British food's all about in a very, very elegant way, but very historic foundations. Heston Blumenthal's in the Fat Duck, what he tried to do there as well. I think there are a few chefs out there that are doing phenomenal, but they're a specific way of doing it. They're all about ancient history. I would like to do and be a part of all the other chefs that are around my age category where they're all doing British food. And it is literally brand new. Brand new. You go down to Spain. Yeah, I'm going to a Spanish restaurant. Croquetas in one, ham in one, croquetas, omelette. You know, you're eating the same food in every restaurant. Some's better than the others, blah blah blah. But it's the same. Italy, the same. You know, you go to Britain. You go. I'm going to eat in a British restaurant 5 days a week. You're having completely fucking different food, but it's all from British products. That excitement of what I would love to see foreign people come to the UK, especially London, to be like, we ain't eating where we're from. We're on the British ones. And you're going to find fish and chips, and you're going to find a roast beef and a Sunday roast, but you're going to find some serious magical things.
What do you think that week would look like, again, through a utopian lens? Like, so someone comes in and is like, because you're right, like, you know, even out here, you know, I'm like 1 week, so I was like, even I said this to Luke, I was like, I need to try the roasted pork.
Okay.
I'm gonna smash the fuck out of Thai food.
Yeah.
I was like, I want that. Is it the Crad Kapow, which is the holy? Does that Crad Kapow? Thank you. Or
I don't know.
Fuck knows. I kept getting confused with saying thank you and the other one is it's the minced chicken or beef.
Oh yeah,
egg
with the holy basil.
Yeah, and it's fucking spicy. Yeah. I think I kept saying
we've eaten that every day.
Yeah, it's banging. Like wanted to try that. But I think you're right. Like, if you were to take off the naff stereotypical fish and chips, Yorkshire fucking pudding, pie, whatever. Like, what is the utopian British food? Do you think? Like
I think it's to have a British cookbook alongside Repertoire de la Cuisine.
yes,
The Larousse Gastronomique. It's about something where it's like the history, but also the future of food, because the Larousse Gastronomique is the future of food of that period of time. So I think it's to have a huge ass book with what everyone's doing now. There's plenty of fantastic chefs out there.
Yeah,
You know, you go to Mark in Moore Hall. His food is British as hell, and it is wonderful, and it's got top. You know, it's 3 stars.
Yeah.
Oh, 3 stars. We have the best awarded British restaurants in the country, being British, but we also, and Simon Rogan.
Yeah.
All of them 3 restaurants I mentioned, apart from Claire's, is 3 stars plus 2 green stars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they are the top epitome of what it is. But yet people still think Britons can't cook. You're like, well, it's fucking, you got French people giving us the top marks in Michelin. Clearly they do. So my dream is to have foreign people come into the UK and to be like, yes, I want to eat British food.
Yeah.
But it's done by what's that word? The generations. So our parents' generation, where they would go, or like from French countries, they'd come here and they'd have shit food because we would be doing MGO seedlings of everything. It would be completely beige. That was when Britain did really bad for itself. It was factory-produced filth that just put a lot of damage in people. So their perception is shite. Their kids, their perception is going to be wonderful. And then next generation, their kids, when they come here, it's even better. So I just think it's a generational thing. I don't want anyone to die, but when that generation does pass and the new one comes in to be the older ones, it's gonna go.
Yeah. No, I just love the way your brain thinks, mate, about the future and just ambition. One thing I love, again, this is another Chris Williams thing, which I think is really interesting, is he says a lot of like, not like advice from people who are successful, who've made their millions, is not always the best to rely on. And his whole thing is study the rise, not the result. So a lot of these big minted people, you know, go on some of these podcasts, they'll say that, you know, it's all about balance, like taking a fucking walk, or, you know, playing with your kid, or getting a gym session in, doing a morning routine. That's fine once they've made that dough. They've got time to do that. But if you were to actually study the rise on the way up, they were fucking psychopaths.
Yep.
Like, what was your rise like versus where you are now? Your result, like, get me into your head, into the eye of your head. Your head, about that up the top, that part.
That direction. Well, to be fair, it's that saying, everyone wants to know you when you're successful, but no one wants to help you be successful. You know, like no one believes in you when you're struggling, but you're a stubborn ass not to give up. But then when you've achieved it, you have lots of friends. I hate people like that. My circle is very, very, very small for that reason. I don't really know how to answer that question. It's like a bull run, really. I started off my career, went up really high, shot down, pretty much almost collapsed, went up again, shot down from lockdown. Now it's gone back up again. Luckily, it doesn't seem to be dropping. It's slowed down in terms of its spike, purely for the reason of the economics. But we aren't slowing down. It's still going up, but instead of like that, it's now pushed slightly slower, and it'll always move forward. It'll never be stagnant.
Yeah, it's interesting. A guy I interviewed, you know, Grenade, the chocolate bars, because we interviewed a lot of brands. Interviewed the founder of that. He's sold X's of that for 200 mil. Went to his gaff in Cornwall, actually. Sick. He's got like his own. It's just like this old it's like a bond layer. But he was basically saying to me, is you can have a better business without having better or higher profits or revenue, in the sense that you may be sort of flatlining, but you may be getting better. The team in.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's really interesting. We look at it so myopically through like, oh, what's all the revenues? And it's like, no, you can get better systems, better.
Yep.
And you know, all that stuff is fucking fascinating.
I do think tech is playing a major part in financial growth inside the hospitality sector.
Right.
But I still think it's a little bit more scary to let go on specific things. I know it has been for me, but my ops team are very much we are going digital.
So what sort of stuff have you implemented?
But every single thing that the team do is completely digital in terms of how they obviously clock in and out, how they manage their holidays, their time, their rotas, their pay slips, their ordering, their shopping baskets, accounts, finance. Every single thing is all done digitally, where all specific people will have access to absolutely everything. So they can click on it, they can see the projections, the forecast, everything, and people are like, yeah, that's just a flash report. I'm a restaurant. I'm not a hotel. I don't have an endless team of financial people that I just sit and do that. So picking up these systems in place to be able to make sure that you can control food costs as well. One of the biggest costs that will cripple a business is mismanaging ordering and being wasteful.
What mistakes do you think young ambitious chefs make that you commonly see?
They don't realize that seafood is bloody seasonal in terms of price point. One day it's this price, one day it's that, and yet they don't adapt their menu. So, you know, if you're buying turbot, for example, you buy a whole turbot in 7 kilo turbot, king of the sea, absolutely delicious. You get, I don't know how many portions, say 10 portions out of one big portions of something. You'll get more than that out of that. And it's an X amount of money. It's on the menu. You've decided it. It's a great dish. Following day, you order another turbot and it's like 15% higher, but your menu price is still the same. You lost money on that dish. That whole comes into place at the end of the month. So I think doing a complete flexible menu of terms of being able to create things or even have a relationship with suppliers where you can say, I really want this on my menu, but I cannot have it change up and down. So create a floor, create a ceiling. I do that with my suppliers.
What do you mean create a floor?
So create a floor is that if it, say for instance, it's £45 a kilo.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, if it goes down to 43, let's keep it that way. If it goes up to say 50, let's keep it that way. If it goes any lower, you make more money. If it goes any higher, you save money. And I do that with a lot of my high ticket items. And a lot of suppliers will be like, you know what? It's scratching each other's back. It's all going to pull back at certain times of year. So create a floor, create a ceiling. Again, that's a normal, a business term to think about how much you can work with someone together.
Yeah.
And be flexible, but not allow the flexibility to be detrimental.
Yeah. Talk to me about so I've read the 4x4 menu for the flexible. Is that talk me through the genesis of that and what that is?
So Frog is our
and why now? Like I suppose I want to get into the be like water, swim. The Bruce Lee quote, which I always love, is be like water, like swim around things. Talk me through that.
So we wanted to create Frog as being a standalone. Nothing will come in place with Frog. It will be the flagship of the group. Nothing will change that. So make a restaurant that emphasizes the good parts of Frog, but make it more accessible. So we did a 4-4-4 menu, so you can come in and pick your own menu. Come here 5 days in a row, and you can have a completely different menu.
What's the four?
So 4 starters, 4 middles, 4 mains, 4 desserts. Also, you can add on cheese.
Right.
So and it's like an a la carte vibes, but we call it 4-4-4 because a la carte is bloody French, and I will never use that word. Yeah. So it's like just being able to be more flexible. We also have a tasting menu attached to there as well if you really want to come and experience it. But it's all about the location Ugly Butterfly got changed to. It isn't as affluent as what it once was in its previous location. So I don't want guests...
Just for context for listeners, so it was in St. Ives, now it's in New Quay.
Yeah. So it's in the historic Headland Hotel on the left side of the building, overgoing the cliffs of Fistral Beach, which is incredible. The sun sets in the windows. It's so pretty. And we wanted to create a restaurant that embodies the history of what we've done. So we've got all the newspaper articles of what we've done well, done them into paper mache butterflies and hang them all from the ceiling, because you must remember the past if you're going to think about the future.
Yeah.
And then we wanted to create the foundations of accessibility. So if you don't want to come, I love Cornwall to bits, but it could up its food game in specific areas. So there's not so much in one small space of the top tier restaurants.
In Fistral?
In Cornwall. Everything, you've got phenomenal restaurants, but they're all so bloody far away. Yes. And a lot of people don't necessarily like to travel. Next one from me who's far away is like probably 40 minutes, where you've got Paul's and you've got like Nathan's even further away from that. You've got a lot of wonderful restaurants, like some of the best in the UK, to be fair, but everything is so difficult to get to. So I wanted to create a restaurant where guests can have the same standard without having to travel an hour there and an hour back. They can just create their own menu and come here 5 days a week while they're on holiday. That was the ethos around it. So to be able to capsulate an audience, and if they wanted to come just for a special occasion or they wanted to blow out, the tasting menu's there. We sell a lot of tasting menu on the weekends because people come for special occasions. During the week is pretty much the 4-course menu. And I've had guests come. In summer this year was really beautiful when we first opened. We had a guest come like 6 times in a week, lunch and dinner, because we've got a bar menu as well. So if you want to have a whole grilled lobster with garlic butter and chips, or you wanted a big bowl of steamed mussels, or you just wanted the banging burger, you could do that in the bar. So we had guests come and try all the menus, and we have afternoon tea there as well. It's quite a large offering, but it's all about how would I like to eat if I was at a seaside part of the UK.
Is Fistral Beach where they've got the Rick Steins chippy?
And that's where they do Boardmasters.
Yeah, I was going to say it's where the surfers are. Yes. Yeah, and they've got that bar that's kind of does pizzas below. Yeah. I've definitely been there.
There's a little fish restaurant there.
Oh, mate, I've been to that. That is really
amazing.
Good.
It's amazing. Really, really good. So when I say there's not very much around, there are good restaurants around. I'm not saying that, but it's not as close together as London is.
Yeah. Because you got the Gurnard's Head down there.
I love the Gurnard's Head. It's one of my favourites. And
what's the other one which is really good? The St. Q Inn.
Yeah.
Which, I think I had like a rib thing there, which was just like mind blowing. It was so delicious.
Yeah. There's loads of great places.
What are the other sort of psychological positive manipulations? Because I think it's a smart thing to do, and you win, the guest wins. I'd love to be able to go fucking 4 things, banging. Don't have to leave and get in a car, because a lot of people don't want to do that on holiday. Holidays, I like driving, but
Yeah.
What are the other sort of win for everyone, things you've put in place across?
We have 2 restaurant cars that will drive you home if you want to enjoy the wine list, and you can leave your car in any of the restaurants, to be fair, and pick it up the following day, because you never know. It's all about the experience someone gets. You come first to an operation and you're like, I'm not drinking, I'm just going to come for a couple of courses, and all of a sudden you've got on like a house on fire with the with the waiter, and you're enjoying the food so much, you're smashing out everything. That's right. And they're like, yeah, you know what? Let's have another bottle of wine. Perfect.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about that. The taxis take forever. We'll drive you home. You can't be living in Devon, but if there's an hour round trip, we'll drive you for free.
So taxis you can't get in Cornwall.
Yeah.
Either. Also it's mad. Like, so I took my team down there. We did like when I did the grade interview. So because Al lives down there, and we did the Rock. We did what did we do? What's 3 boys or 4 boys in Rock, which was really good. And then Paul Ainsworth's
Number 6.
Cafe Rahano,
right.
not the
that, which is a great restaurant.
Yeah, which was really, really good. But I was like back in the old days. I was like calling these cab companies, like, all right, love. I'm like, he was like, yeah, mate, I'll be there at this time. And I was like, this is just fucking. So that's probably a good business in itself.
Yeah, it is. We don't charge anything for it. We just want people to make sure that we've thought of everything a guest wants to do without them asking for it. That's the ethos of a good restaurant.
Yeah.
Float from one side to another, do everything, guests don't see.
I want to explore your creative process. Like, it's really been amazing to understand your character and the way you think and navigate this world. But like, the creative process is interesting. Like, Paul Smith, the designer, like he's got I was reading it on the way on the boat over here, actually, really interesting kind of like rules of creativity. And it's just a really fascinating, because his brand is one of these things is have a fucking point of view. Because there's a gazillion podcasters, there's a gazillion chefs, there's a gazillion graphic designers, there's a gazillion writers. People think we need another one of those. We need a point of view. That's one of his ones. His other ones is like, there's a difference between stay childlike, but don't be childish. So like, always be curious kind of thing. Positivity. Really, really interesting. But like, I'd love to know, and I know at one point you kind of backpack around here in Asia, like, how did you develop the Adam Handling point of view first? And then how do you go and get those creative ideas? I know you've got the famous lobster and Wagyu and Caviar dish, like that's kind of just, like, how does that happen?
Well, that happened a long way off from finding myself.
Yep.
I'm a Glen Eagles boy, which was very traditional, very wasteful, but incredibly phenomenal. You know, everything, it was very old school. So they would cut a turbot into a square. I'd literally get so frustrated if I went to a restaurant now and I see a square. I'm like, where the fuck's the rest of the fish, man? Fish ain't a square.
Yeah.
But that was how I got taught. So it wasn't until I do encourage everyone, whether or not you're in hospitality or any other industry, travel, see the world, see a different point of view. Because sometimes you could be quite locked into, you know, we don't have a passport, we only stay in, we only see what we see every day. You need to be inspired by anything, a smell, a sound, a feeling, a fucking flavor you eat, everything like that. So when I went traveling, I realized that, especially in Asia, Japan here and China and everything, they're very much hyper local in terms of proud to be using Thai, using Japanese, using Chinese, and they don't tend to bring anything else into their country that isn't in season just then. But there's a reason why the best fruit in the world come from Japan. You know, like the apples, the strawberries, things like that, because they only make them for that period of time, and that's you're done. If I can get a strawberry in the UK out of season because people are forcing them to grow. So they're very much built on product and utilization of everything. And I think that was so beautiful to experience because I'd never experienced it before. And I did cooking classes in all countries I was in.
So what countries did you go to?
So let's talk about this area. Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, China, Indonesia, Bali, Sri Lanka, China, Japan. This is just this area.
Yeah.
I took almost a year out and went traveling.
And what country was the most surprising?
Thailand.
Because
their usage of sweet and sour spicy.
This is exactly what Lukey was saying to me.
I think that there is something we don't do in British food, and we definitely don't do in French food. So how I was trained. So when I'm having sour, sweet, and spicy, I'm like, what the fuck is going on in my mouth? Why does this taste so fresh, so delicious, so yummy? And then I wanted to dive deeper into that sort of one.
And is there a way to do that with the British menu now? British. How would you sort of create that?
So the thing is as well, because British food is historically based on French, that's why it's bland. If I'm honest. That's why it's bland.
I understand that. I can't understand that.
So the history of British food was, like, the Savoy, the first chef there, French. All of the big chefs that are around everywhere, French. They put their influence on it to make what is British food now French. So Britain didn't have the opportunity to be able to be sour, sweet, and spicy. Didn't have the opportunity.
Interesting.
So when you go over there, it's not about taking the foundations of a phenomenal Thai dip where they would pour over their rice or whatever and bring it back to the UK and to be like, I'm doing just that. No, you can use British ingredients and achieve just that. I wanted lemons for my restaurants. So I worked with a farm called Pasha's Patch in Cornwall to create my own lemons. We create Maya lemons for our restaurants, for example. So the thing is, now we have sour, but we also have sour. We have unripened grapes. So all of the grapes that they start pruning off the vineyards, we have our own English sparkling. Then once there, we press and we've got ourselves verjus, basically.
So that's sour?
Yeah, sour. So an unripened Chardonnay grape, you bite in, it's like sour as hell. You can feel your teeth disappearing. You've got, and then vinegars. You have creating a SCOBY, creating vinegars from bread, from beer, from whatever. You can be able to create something again. There are 1,000 different ways to create a sour flavor. Now, how do we implement that in British food using British ingredients? Very easily now. Things like umami, like soy. I love soy. Such a huge flavor. We don't use soybeans in our soy. We use our leftover bread. So we dice up our bread, we ferment our bread, we bake our bread, ferment it, put it in water, leave it there for 2 weeks, reduce it right down 100-1. Add some salt. Soy sauce, made from bread, not soybeans. Same flavor.
If there was a dish to kind of, for people to cook, say like an Adam Handling 30-minute meal dish to create this utopia, like what would that be for someone to whip up to kind of experience the new wave of, what British food could be? Because I think we could definitely get there. What would be something?
I'll say a posh version. A posh version will just be a barbecued lobster.
Yeah.
Cut a barbecued lobster in half, but when the head is barbecued, squeeze the head all over the meat.
Yes.
Brush it in beef fat. You do that 2 things. Britain is very squeamish because they've never had to get their hands dirty. Foreign people come in and they do everything for us. You go to Spain, you're having all of the gambas cooked on the boat-shaped barbecues in the south of Spain, and people are sucking the head and they're squeezing the head, they're eating the prawns, and then someone does the same with a lobster, and they're like, oh, that's gross. I'm confused. It's the same bloody thing. One's a little larger. So it's about people's mindset about what is gross, what is flavor. But if you were to be a little bit more, use a different culture's way of working with British products to understand that what they do, they've been doing for years, and it's bloody delicious. Sustainable, zero waste, use it all.
How would you apply the Japanese principles to British? Because when I went to Japan 2019, and what I found interesting about there is they'll specialise in one thing.
Yeah.
So like you'll go to like the pork katsu place or like this very specific type of sashimi. Mm-hmm. And like that just kind of maniacal obsession with one thing. Like what would that be for if we were to put that through a British lens?
Asian fish. So aging fish. So aging a cod, aging a turbot, aging mackerel. Aging a fish like they do over there to really impact the flavour of the ocean. That's something they've been doing for ages. We've only just started doing. It's a preservation system for us to be able to make fish last for longer. But because we're on the ocean, we've been very gluttonous in our time, we were very wasteful. But being able to age a fish in a chamber or even nicely wrapped in a fridge, you take the information about how they then treat a fish to really maximize on flavor, bring it back to using British fish. That simple thing there, one little element of how they make the best fish over here, that little key will open up a world of experience, but also a world of excitement, because you know how wonderful it'll taste. It'll cook even better because it doesn't have excess water in. It has more of an intense flavor because the water is no flavor is gone. It's dried slightly, so the caramelization on specific fishes is even better. It's fucking wonderful.
Yeah. Such an interesting way of viewing the world, and so it's so exciting. How could you not be excited about applying all these?
Take techniques of history. They've been doing them for longer than ever. It's like, come on, the whole world Europe is founded on Asia. People go to Italy and think, oh, Italy is one of the oldest foods in the world.
Let's check that. You're talking just quickly about buildings in London, but
do you know why in like that side of London? All the buildings are like slanty, or like the cheese grater building is like that.
No.
But the rule that Henry VIII had created was no building can ever block the view of St Paul's Cathedral. So wherever you are in London, you can always see St Paul's Cathedral. So these buildings have to be the shape of St Paul's Cathedral so that it can be so high.
That's mad.
It's fucking cool.
So, I think what we were talking about before that camera started being a knob, but was it the British? It was the Japan. Oh yeah, sorry. We were talking about Japan and the Japanese just doing one thing well. Yeah, like what would those be for Britain, like in the new era?
A lot of people are doing it, but it's the preserving of fish. The Asian aging fish is a really good way to enhance flavor, to make something prolonged. There's that one little technique there brought over here is just transforming the way British seafood isn't.
Yeah. What would you say is like if you could only spend 2 hours a week on your business as like a hypothetical thing, where would you spend it?
I would probably spend it in either the development kitchens or the labs. I get so excited about being adventurous. So excited about creation of things. So we have a lab, we have food lab, drinks lab, we have development areas, them sort of ones where you're really honing in. I try and make dishes that connect with me, but also will connect with somebody else. I think that's very important that as much as I only cook for myself, I'm a normal person, and the average Brit has experienced pretty much what I've experienced growing up. So if I can create a reincarnation of that real happy memory that I've had as a child or as an adult or as whatever, they would have experienced it too. So when you give them that dish and eat it, they say to you, that reminds me of, you're like, done it. Done it. I didn't tell you. I wasn't going to tell you. But
because I think we were talking about Paul, and then we kind of got, that was it. I was talking about my Paul Smith bag, which has kind of been, following me around this trip. And I love it because it kind of just stands out it reminds me to sort of just look for the things that stand out. And his whole mantra and thesis is stay like childlike not childish. But then you said you met him at the British thing.
Foreign Office, yeah.
Foreign Office.
For a great dinner.
A great dinner. Where on that, if you could speak to that about where do your ideas come from? How do you have to exist in the world to get those ideas? Like, does creativity come to you? Is this quite fucking ethereal and spiritual here? But I love this stuff. Like,
yeah. I think creativity comes if you're willing to learn and work for it. It's not something that you wake up in the morning and you think, I'm going to create this and it's going to be magical. You know, like that there happens to a very few people, but it does happen, and I'm so envious of them. But for me, I need substance. I need to be inspired by something. Hence, inspiration is one of the words. So I need to be able to find something that inspires to me of how I feel right now. How do I feel in the moment? How can I create something that contains a memory? And also promote Britain in its best light possible. That's how I create my food that way. It's how I feel and what I want to eat now. Because I'm a normal person. So it's not an arrogance one where this is the frog we're talking about. The other ones are 50% frog, 50% the team. It's all about if people are coming to the Frog, which is my main restaurant, they want to experience, I would like to think, what goes on in my crazy head and now Cleverson's crazy head. So if they were to come in and they would eat something and it's like, oh my God, this is obvious. My grandmother made this, but it was shit. You just managed to make me feel and miss her. You've just done something like that where it's really quite encapsulating of an experience. Chicken butter. The reason why people love it is because it reminds them of a Monday morning. Loaf of bread, lots of butter, leftover roast chicken, sandwich. That chicken butter reminds everyone of that experience. That's why it's a memory, and that's why it's a Chanel dish. Timeless.
Other Chanel dishes that tap into that, keep going.
Yeah.
Like other ones that you think?
Not so. That one there is the predominant main one.
Yep.
But things like the lobster aged in beef fat and the cheese donut and the mother dish, they're pretty much the staple four that are on. I wouldn't say all the menus. But half of them are on all the menus.
Fascinating. What would you say is some of the most underrated foodie city in the world, do you think?
Oh, underrated foodie city in the world? I love Sri Lanka. I know that's a country, not a city.
Yeah.
But the variation between all corners of Sri Lanka, the food changes. And I think it's completely delicious.
Really?
Yeah.
What's some of the dishes you'd have there? Where would you go?
I can never tell you the names, but so I was there last year and I was mind blown by the location of food, as in like each place is completely different to another, even though it's the same country. And yeah, stupidly, I thought that way. It's the same as Britain. You go to Scotland in the bottom, they are different. But the ingredients that they were using, the proudness of their heritage, of my grandmother, my mum, my this, my that, used to make it. I do it the same way, using the same ingredients, grown right there. I thought it was so romantic. And the food was so fresh. It was such a clean country. I would say that's probably one of my favorite places to go, or that I've been to for that specific type of food. Because I don't know that area of food. I don't know Indian. I don't know Sri Lankan. It isn't my forte at all. And I'd love to dive into it a little bit more.
Final question, mate. How do you think most people misunderstand you?
How people misunderstand me? I'd like to say that they don't see the graft. They just see the reward. They think that I was handed everything. They don't see the tears, the heartbreaks, the broken families, the losing kids. They don't see any of that. They just see me pick up an award at a ceremony in a fancy suit. I think, but that's because I keep myself pretty closed off. I would love for people to, drop me a message and say, ask me a question if you want. Ask me a personal one. Ask me a food one. Ask me whatever. Or if I'm in the area and someone asks me, do I want to go for a coffee? I want to chat to you about stuff. I will pretty much say yes to everyone if I'm in the area, because I want to inspire people. And the only way people are going to get to know the real me is to ask me a question or meet me.
Do you think people are fearful of meeting you, or
I don't think they're fearful of meeting me.
Or do you think because of just you wanting to create your own sort of, as you said, I'm the same. I don't let anyone in.
Yeah.
My boys have been with me for since I was 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else, I'm kind of keep at a distance a bit.
Yeah.
Is that what it is, or is it?
Yeah, I've always been an extremely shy person, so me holding a small group of friends is really easy for me to do. I don't want to be the favorite person in the room. I'm happy if my ones that I'm close to like me. But yeah, I'd like people to want to get to know me, perhaps. speak to the team that work in my restaurants, 300 wonderful people. You know, there's how is Adam? Is he a cunt? You know, how is he as a person? And I guarantee you, they'll say he's strict, but he's proper passionate and he works.
What do you think? There's that misconception about you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Just
perfect example. One of my most senior people that we just hired, I just said, why are you coming with me? You're getting interviews in left, right, and centre in all the best restaurants in London. And he was like, because you inspire me. And I was like, I don't understand. You've never met me. And he goes, I came for a trial and I felt the energy in this room. You created that. I'm like, well, me and the team created that. I said, and he's like, it leads from the top. If the chef is an aggressive, angry person, the entire team mirror it. It's all about mirroring. And he said he was warned not to come work for me because I'm angry and I'm aggressive and I'm strict and I'm that.
There's a lot of haters about you because you've got all this.
Well, there's haters in every industry,
There's
isn't
haters
there?
in everything, but I feel like for you specifically, but it's because you're so young in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And also you made the kind of dollar young.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, maybe there's this kind of this spewed or spinned.
There's a lot of people that like to latch on to a negative thing. If someone starts to fall, we all make mistakes in life. I'm no fucking angel, but you know, mistakes are a lesson. They're not a life's prison sentence. Yeah. So I suppose that there are times where I've got way too excited and I've got wasted at a party and I make a fool of myself. You know, that's a life lesson. I don't want to do that again because I feel horrible the next day to be like, I made myself look like a twat. But that was when I was in my younger days. You get handed a lot of things when you're doing so well and successful that it goes to your head and you make a twat of yourself.
The ones that are like, even like just in general in life, the ones that will like tear people, like I remember like vegans who would tear people down for like eating meat, yet they're sniffing cocaine.
Yeah.
Like, well, fuck me, look at the manslaughter the death that's happened in that fucking supply chain, love.
I know,
you know
right?
what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, it's interesting. And it's just that, yeah, I just feel like that misconception I think it's a British thing of build them up, tear them down. And it's fucked because it's like...
But again, I don't want this to be me playing my little fiddle. And I want everyone to say, oh, poor Adam, poor Adam. I've had a wonderful life. And every bump in the road has made me a stronger person, a better role model for me, for my son, a better role model for my team, and more drive to become better and better because I don't want these idiots in the background to be like, look, he failed, haha. This is the passion. I need that sort of negativity in my life to make me be stronger and prove every fucker right. Everyone is holding their breath, waiting for you to fail. Let them all suffocate.
Mate, perfect way to wrap that up. It's been a fucking joy. Thank you so much, brother.
Oh, my pleasure.
Mate, that was me. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you were loving the episode. I'd appreciate a really small yet significant favor, por favor. Please, may you click the subscribe button, get in the comments, tell me what you think about the episode, tell me what you think we did on the show. It may not seem much, but it really helps us grow and helps us get bigger guests. Thank you so much.